isms.
That's probably true.
Yeah, true. Good time to go live, and now nobody's going to know what we're talking about.
Absolutely. Come on in, everybody. We see you out there. Come on in. Come on in. Join us. You don't want to stand in the back of the hall. There's plenty of room up here in front. Come on. A couple people in the house. The chat's open, folks. Don't be afraid to talk. We might ignore you today, but don't be afraid to talk.
You probably won't get a word in edgewise.
Probably not. Look at this cast, folks. Come on in. And Marion.
Senor.
Hey, Marion.
Yeah, I'm just popping in to, I seen everyone here, and I figured, why not pop in and say hello? Happy Valentine's Day, and I'm trying to avoid the wife today, but
because you got her those neon glow in the dark shoes, right? That I sent you.
No.
He's wearing them. That's the problem.
Yeah. She would have loved that, by the way.
Yeah. I try to stay out of the heels. I mean, I do need lifts.
But they make your legs look so good, Varian. I don't understand.
I wouldn't be opposed to some lifts, like discreet lifts, but at my height, any a couple of feet, a foot extra might help.
I never had that problem.
Yeah.
I remember back in the mid 70s when I bought some new shoes. I'm 6'1", and when do you remember when the shoes in the mid 70s had the big stacks on that David Bowie was wearing and all those people? Well, the shoes, I didn't buy that kind of. They weren't as bad as that, but the regular shoes, they had a bit of a lift on. I was about 19 foot tall. I couldn't get a proper pair of shoes. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, my mother bought me a pair of shoes. I was in my early 20s at the time, and for some reason, she thought that a brown pair of disco shoes were what I needed. They had like these 2.5-inch heels on them. I told her, I swear to God, Mom, I feel like I'm getting nosebleed every time I stand up when I wear those things. I'm not used to that thin an atmosphere when I wear them.
Oh, well, I mean, those shoes on me would make me average height.
They look so good on John Travolta.
They did, and oddly enough, I couldn't dance like him when I was done. I could barely walk when I wore those things. I felt like I was on stilts.
Look, at 5'2", I will take any lift in a shoe I can get. I got my Adidas have a small bit of lift in them. And I'm like, hey, this is at least I can look my wife in the eye when I obey her every command.
And when she's totally barefoot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I have another friend. She used to joke with me about that. She was like, her Twitter profile, and her Tinder profile said, I'm 5'11", barefoot in the kitchen. And I'm like,
hitting two demographics at once.
That just paints a picture. I think. I get it. Yeah.
It's like, okay, you sure want to let your profile? I mean, you're gonna get a certain type of guy.
Actually, it's 3 if you really think about it.
Yeah. Oh man,
That's true. That's true.
From the desk of a small press publisher says Glenn, Brian, and Varian. This is a very special show.
Hey, I hope you got some sleep last night.
Yeah, that was a good show. That was a good show last night.
Thank you.
Just changing it my Facebook thing to public.
I was like, if it's a very special show, one of us has to turn toward the camera toward the end and say, do you have a problem with whatever it is, and give the national 800 number?
Well, I volunteer for that.
Yeah.
We'll do that on our exits.
Yeah, there we go. 1-800-TOUGH LUCK.
Come on in, everybody. This is the Sunday Funnies for the 14th of February, 2021. Already in the middle of the second month of the year. And we're waiting for the year to begin.
Jesus.
They're digging ourselves out. Daphne, you probably have what?
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's like it's cold enough that nothing's really melting.
Yeah.
And then we might get more snow.
You are getting more snow.
Yeah, that's what I keep seeing. I'm up to here with it.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, no, yeah.
It's not been too bad here. It's quite mild at the moment. There's no snow around. It's okay. It's about 2 degrees, I think.
Ew.
That's because the polar expresses are riding down right through the center of our country and right through the center of Russia.
Yeah,
wow.
You're kind of in between those two. So
I think Russia always gets it, doesn't it? Because we get their stuff.
Yeah,
I think.
that's why Siberia has the stereotypes it does.
Yeah.
Is Tom Hanks with it?
No,
No.
If only we could handle this if Tom Hanks were at the end of it.
You know, I've never seen that movie, but I know he's in it. Polar Express. I don't tell my wife I haven't seen certain movies because she'll say, "You haven't." Guess we're watching tonight.
Oh,
like, believe it or not, a lot of that was filmed about a half an hour away from my house.
Huh?
They rotoscoped all the trains and stuff. Yeah, all the trains.
Nice.
Duran and Owasso around here, big train hubs, always have been. So every once in a while they boast, here's the train that that's actually the Polar Express.
You know, the Polar Express could have turned a couple different choices made in that movie. Could have turned it into what's it called? The train movie, the other train movie.
Silver Streak?
One Lines Express.
No.
Even better.
the Chris Evans movie.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
Yeah. Polar Express, Snowpiercer.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
And if we all started using Blender, we could make our own Polar Express film.
There we go.
Ralph Bakshi would be proud. You know, he says, why would anybody want to work for Disney when with the technology you have, we can make our own stuff in our basements.
Yeah. I was just saying to Brian, I started making a Hatch animated movie yesterday, at least learning Blender. So, and I just said to him, no, I need to do things several times because I've already forgotten what I learned yesterday. So I'm not doing very well.
What I learned is not to make any jokes about Glenn, because the last time I made a joke about Glenn about climbing Mount Everest, he sent me a photo of him in the Himalayas. So you know what? you say you're learning, fine. Yes, you are.
Yeah, he was on Clever Title Pending last week, Glenn was, and he was talking about all of his amazing accomplishments, and he does every one of them so freaking well, and I still speak to him. I don't know why, but he mentioned that he never had gotten like an animation gig, and I'm like, well, you loser, you total loser.
And now look at him.
I know he's got Blender out, and he's learning this thing.
And it was. I said to Brian, it was the only thing I ever wanted to do was work in animation. It's probably the only thing I haven't done. So I've done a few things, but nothing groundbreaking. But with this Blender, it's really opened up a really big door for me to produce something. I mean, even if nothing comes of it, I'll do it for myself, But I'm planning on making probably a 5 or 10 minute short of Hatch and just putting it out and just see what people think. But I'm just enjoying working on it. It's just it's incredible software. It's really good. It's really it's not easy, but it's like everything else. When you can do it, it's easy, isn't it? When you can do things,
right? Yeah.
But I'm just learning, so it's not easy at the moment. But I'm really pleased with it. It's fantastic. Yeah. You can build some great things.
Unfortunately, my computer would pass out at just the thought of installing it. So,
well, I use an Apple Mac, so it's sort of industry standard type of thing. I've always used a Mac, where people using PCs and things. They're not geared up for my kind of work, I don't think.
Yeah.
My computer could probably do it. I spent way too much money building it, but I'm lazy, and
you're lazy. You're funny.
Okay. You got You got Trevor McAvoy says, "Morning, y'all, stateside from a cold, windy Ireland."
Oh, morning.
Oh, good morning.
Oh.
Good morning,
Terry. Always welcome. Thank you so much for listening. I had a remark here on mine too from Joe D. McPhee that didn't hit the chat section. In the process of doing some digital inking as I watch Sunday FUNnies. This is one I completed last night and sent a picture.
Well done.
Yeah, he showed it on his. I don't know if he showed it to me. I think he showed it to me after before the show. But yeah, it's like working on those really bold lines.
He's been
Nice.
reading Tall Tales.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, Daphne was on Joe's show last night. I hung in there. Then my internet on my phone decided it wanted to take a crap on me. So I was like, oh well. But I was gonna rewatch it today because but if I can't be there to cause Joe grief,
Well,
you know,
What's your purpose in life? Is that what you're
yeah. I was like, man, it sucks. I was got to land him with the hard questions. You know.
Hey, everybody, come on in. This is the Sunday Funnies for the 14th of February, 2021. We're going to roll our opening and then do our introductions. So, hang on, everybody. Here we go. And that's it. Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for listening. I am your host, Randy Zimmerman. I am a longtime alternative and independent comics creator, publisher, and everything herb. Been doing everything in the direct market you can imagine for the last 30 plus years. I'll admit to 30. So other than that, we'll see how it goes. And now I'm part of the Indie Volt Broadcast Network, one of many networks that seem to be springing up. Isn't that right, Mr. Brian? All
No
good.
idea what you're talking about.
No idea.
Anyway, we'll talk about that in a moment.
We'll get to you in a second. Along with me today is Varian Grant. Varian, introduce yourself.
So hello.
oh God, he's moving furniture.
That was his introduction, folks.
Yeah. Have a nice day, everyone. Drive
Falling off a stool.
My name is Varian Grant. I am the founder of Indie Volt Media. Also, co-founder of Last Call Comics, one of the starting 5 founders of Terraform Comics. Also owner of Liberty Entertainment Distribution Group. I've been comics in 2008, and I'm very lazy. I don't know how I managed to do all that stuff.
Great. Also co-hosting today is Daphne Lage. Daphne, introduce yourself.
Hey, good morning. Hi, everyone. My name is Daphne Lage, and I am a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist out of New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and I am known for the funny animal fantasy Tall Tales and my medieval drama Ego Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, that I got fresh from the printer yesterday for my Kickstarter. So I'm in the process of packing that up. And you can read both my comics online for free at talltalesonline.com, TAILS, and egoworks.com, EGOWORKS. And if you want to watch videos as to how I make both of these comics, you can check out my YouTube channel at Daphne Lage, LAGE Art.
Awesome. Also with us today is Mr. Glenn Flemming. Glenn, introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Glenn Flemming. I'm an English graphic designer, artist, writer, and publisher. I've written and published many books on different subjects, JFK assassination, science fiction, children's books, football, soccer to you guys. I also wrote a book about my father's experiences on D-Day. He was a paratrooper. I wrote a book about the NASA astronauts who didn't get to the moon. Lots of other things and travel books and things like that. But I currently publish Comics Unlimited, a 100-page bi-monthly magazine about comics. And I'm just learning Blender to create an animated film of a character I created called Hatch.
Awesome.
That's it.
And our special guest today is Mr. Brian K. Morris from Rising Tide Publications. Brian.
And Vogue, founding member of En Vogue.
Yes, that's true. I still got the links for it, Daphne. I'm telling you. No, I'm Brian K. Morris, but no one cares because compared to these guys, I haven't done a damn thing.
Oh.
Former comics
Listen to you.
Yeah, former comics retailer, former. Well, actually, I do write comics. I publish them every now and then, but I mostly write books with a comic book flair, and I'm imitating my idol, Varian Grant. I have my own broadcast group now, the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. My shows include Nevermind the Furthermore, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 Central, where we have creative conversation and coffee, lots of coffee. And on Tuesday nights, Clever Title Pending at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, where we talk about creativity and the business behind it. Last week, we had this amazing man, Glenn B. Flemming, on. And this week, we're going to have better look at my notes. Because I haven't had all my coffee yet. Yes, we're having Russell Allen of Russ Explodes Studios. We're going to talk about Xenonenite Titan, and I challenge everyone to say that 3 times fast before coffee. So, but anyway, that's what I do. I write and draw a lot. I'm currently working on some books and stories for other people right now, but I'm going to get back to my own novel. Plus, I have a Patreon page where we are doing a first draft Flash novel right now. I don't know how it's going to end. I've changed the ending 4 times already. So anyway, that's what I do. And thank you for having me on, Randy. I genuinely appreciate it. And thank you all for hosting me here.
Thanks for coming on,
always
brother.
A pleasure.
Always
Pleasure is mine.
I should also say that when I came into the room this morning, Daphne and Brian were doing a duet of En Vogue. So I don't know behind that.
Yeah.
I know.
And I was away from both the camera and the microphone doing this.
Packing
the groceries into my freezer down here in the basement.
What's going on here? I said.
Randy was getting the sequin dress out with the slit up the side. It was glorious. It was really fantastic. Sorry y'all missed it.
Thanks to the virus here, I can't fit my sequin dress anymore.
Oh, wow.
It doesn't quite fit.
It's okay. Seasons change. It'll be fine.
Randy, I saw this morning that you were Tandy Zimmerman, by the way.
Yeah.
Did I misspell it?
Yeah. I thought you had some breaking news for us.
Wow. Oh, I did. Blast it. Yes. Okay. Sorry. Fat fingers. Hit the wrong.
It's early.
The T key is right next to the R key here. I swear it was a mistake.
Not that we're here to judge, Randy. Really. We're not here to.
A guy's name can be Tandy. My name is Randy with a Y. Thanks, parents. It's not Randall or Randolph. It's Randy. Yeah. It's like, yeah, great. That's like that Boy Named Sue song.
Yeah.
I don't even know it had another meaning until I met Matt Fazell. And he goes, "Are you Randy? Are you really?
No.
Are you really?"
Hey, I was Matt Fazell for 10 minutes at a Chicago con one year.
How did that happen?
Well, I was doing mini comics at the time in the mid 80s.
Okay. Yeah, that explains it.
And we were in the same network with the late Tim Corrigan. And I introduced myself to Matt. We knew each other's work. And so I sat down. We're all sitting there. There's like half a dozen of us sitting there drawing stick figure comic books.
Sure.
And Matt announces, well, I got to go to the men's room for a minute. You guys carry on. So, yeah, we're just in there drawing. And somebody comes up to me for some reason and asks if I'm Matt Fazell. So I hold up this drawing of a stick figure and go, who else draws like this? Of course I am. And she believed me. And I'm like, oh, crap. Now I gotta live
now you're committed.
I'm committed. Yeah, I got to live up to the legend here. And I told Matt, Matt, if somebody comes by asking about your art, tell them you changed. Tell them you had a bad time in the men's room or something.
I used to go to this club called the Brown Cow. And there was a guy. I used to see this, and then so I used to go to this pub, and it had a DJ on there, obviously, and he was playing his records and all that. And I'd seen this guy, right? So just remember that I've seen this guy lots of times. So the next night, I go in the pub, the local pub, and this guy comes up to me and he says, "Dave, how are you doing?" And I'm sort of looking over my shoulder, thinking, he says, "That great show last night. Brilliant show last night." So I said, "Oh, thanks." He said, "Let me get you a pint." I said, No, you're all right. He said, "No, buy you a pint. Got to buy you a pint." And every time I used to go in this pub, I stopped going in the pub because he thought I was this guy, Dave Cave, who was the DJ at the club. Now I've seen this guy, and I didn't think, well, he looks like me. You know, and this guy must have been blind or something. I stopped going in the pub because it was embarrassing. He would never let me buy him a drink, and he'd always buy me one. I didn't really want it because I wasn't this guy.
You had a groupie. This is great.
Yeah, well, not really,
hilarious.
Because I couldn't work out how he would see the guy in the club and think it was me when I was probably there as well. You know?
Yeah, he was drunk and dancing from a distance. That's
probably.
Like Dave.
You know, I mean, maybe he was just taken to wearing high heel shoes on Thursdays. You know.
I know it's a bit off topic, but you mentioned the brown cow.
Yeah.
My mother told me
we're on a topic.
Yeah, really. Welcome to Sunday
Is this a thing? Being on topic? What the
The
hell?
whole conversation just kind of floats around.
She was 7 or so years old. She was raised by her grandmother, and she told me that her grandmother asked her once. My mother was being, she's 7 years old. She's being a little devious that day, and her grandmother asked her, "Do you believe a brown cow gives chocolate milk?" And my mother responded, "Yes." And she was summarily thrashed after that. But, she still remembers that story. She tells me all the time, like, but she's ripped me with it.
Don't answer the question. Don't answer the question.
You make a brown cow get chocolate milk. And then, as a kid, you would think, maybe that's how that happens.
Who knew? Yeah. Marvy says, "Hey, I'm here."
Hello.
Wow.
Hello, Marvy. Hope you're doing all right. Doing well. From the desk of a small press publisher, Daphne Randy did accept the tardy slip, so you are good for being on the show last night.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. He warned me that you might be late. It's like, well, after getting back from the freezer, I realized I was late because Daphne was here. So we have enough snow to build the Fortress of Solitude.
I could
Pops
imagine.
says, "Hey, Pops, yeah."
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
He's a lot farther south than both Varian and I are, towards the border of Michigan, I believe. Michelle says, "Happy Valentine's, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day, Michelle."
Thank you.
Good morning, my friends, from Pops
Morning.
again.
Good morning, Pops.
Morning, y'all. Sentiments from windy Ireland. Yes. Hello, Terry. Already covered that. Daphne, I saw your interview in Joe's channel. Great show.
Oh, thank you.
Are you liking Keanu's comic so far?
Oh, that's the other Berserk. The Berserk that I'm reading is the actual Japanese one. It's it's Berserk.
Keanu Berserker, right?
Yeah, without the vowels.
Yeah. The one without the vowels is Keanu, but I'm reading the Japanese Berserk.
Oh, I've been
Share and smash that like button, please. Letitia, is that right? LJB. Good morning, all. Lorcia. I'm sorry if I massacred your name. I probably did. Mark Darden says, "Randy, Daphne, Glenn, Varian, and Brian. Good morning.
Good morning,
Mark. Mark does an awesome comic called Guano Guy.
Oh,
Very cool comic.
That I believe he's got a Indiegogo or a Kickstarter coming up here next month. So coming up here pretty shortly. He'll be back on the show here again very soon, I'm sure. Glenn, it will be time consuming. The video I did for primetime Saturday night took 3 days to do in Daz's studio.
Yeah. He had an animated promo that was pretty interesting.
Right. I've no doubts it's going to take a long time, but I've got to learn the bloody thing yet, before I can even start.
Yeah,
but it is amazing to work on, and I'm always pointing out that it's free. Pixar and Disney are going berserk with the creator of it because he's released it free. He must either be crazy, this guy, or have a lot of money, or he's not into money because he could have made a fortune. But then again, maybe he couldn't, because if it was out of everybody's budget, they wouldn't get it, would they? Because I wouldn't have done.
Well, isn't that what the guy who created Lightwave did? Like, eventually it went free or something, But the guy is wealthy too, so he made his money and then he gave it away. Yeah.
The guy could be independently wealthy and decide how much money do you really need here.
Right.
Could be. Well, there's also a word processing system called open source or something. Or no, it's all open source, but there is a word emulator It's very similar to Microsoft Word, and it's all open source. I suspect these guys are probably either we're going to stick it to the man.
Yeah.
So, I have that late 60s kind of, rebel mentality in mind, or else they're figuring, now, how can I get something on the market, get a little buzz for it, and not have to do all the work? I know I'll make it open source, and I'll have people far smarter than me doing the programming.
Well, why
unless
not both?
Unless they're working it the other way, where the big guys, like Disney, and may come to him and say, "Look, take this offline, and we'll give you $10 million or $10 billion."
Well, yes, that could
angle.
be,
Or it could be he just enjoys and inspiring other people to go out there and spread cartoons wherever they can.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
it certainly enabled me to do it. I mean, whether I actually conquer it or not is down to me, but at least I've got the opportunity to do it. Because I wouldn't have spent thousands of dollars on it. Sure.
Joe says, thanks for the visual image. Randy, Daphne, and Brian covering Hold On. And it won't go away.
Our job here is done.
Yes. Good night, everybody.
Willow,
morning, everyone.
Wow.
Willow Schuyler says, good morning. Good morning, Willow.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing well.
Morning, Willow. Love you.
And now we're actually caught up to the chat. So.
Wow.
What
do we do
Chat's
now?
open, folks. Hit that like button. All we got to do is sit here and talk. That's all. So with it being Valentine's Day, I thought we would talk about what we love out of comics. So,
nice.
That's going to take more than two hours to explain.
we get us started.
I was thinking
Marion says,
I was thinking about this last night, actually, about this comics thing, and I was just wondering why comics get such a bad name. And I think the clue is in the word that they're referred to as, comic.
Right.
People wonder why people my age are anywhere near these kind of things, but they don't seem to understand that they're always produced by adults.
Yeah.
I think they think 4-year-old kids are turning these things out.
Really, it's I don't understand how that thought process even happens.
I mean, when I was a kid, I used to read comics all the time, like most kids do. And then I got into books when I was about 11, and I still continued reading comic books and things like that. But I think that if a child reads anything, even if it's the Kellogg's packet on the breakfast table, that's a good thing. Doesn't matter what, as long as it's not sort of dodgy stuff, obviously. But if it was, whatever they're reading has got to be good. Right. And you should encourage a child to read. If the child wants to read about that, you should get all the books and magazines on that. That's my view. Because reading is reading. Reading is one of the best things we've got. Yeah.
And like I've said before, the writing in prose has decayed so much over the years. When growing up, I was always told that the pulp magazines were the bottom barrel basement of prose writing, and now I'm going in and reading a lot of that stuff and listening to it audibly while I'm working and going, wow, that's really good. And they actually had editors up there who cared and who guided the story structure along and was careful with the whole writing structure and everything. There's some real amazing pieces of literature.
Well, I think what's happened these days is the social media as well, with Twitter and things like that. Yeah. People are having to get their point over in 70 words, and this kind of thing. Yeah, and language, really. And language always changes anyway. So, and from the Middle Ages here, people don't speak the way they did then, and I don't think it's happened to you guys yet, but it will do. And but we must keep the language and the English language. It's the biggest one in the world, the best one in the world. And but it seems to be being whittled down to just a few sound bites, I think they call them, and because of Twitter and social media, and people seem to be more what's the word? They want everything now. They need to know now, and there's no time to look at the depth of anything anymore. It seems to me in literature, and I think that's bad. Yeah. Not sad. I think it's bad that would happen.
Well, that's one of the reasons I don't like I will cut people off, if they send me emails in text speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
always hate. Oh my god, my last job, it's like it was so hard for me because it's like there would be people who would do that, and I'm like going, with like all the emojis and flowers and
Yeah.
memes and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
like you're a sales account manager. Why are you talking to me like this?
Yeah, I get people who are my age who are like, are you okay? And they use only 4 letters to spell it all out. And I'm like, start typing to me like I'm an adult, like I can read.
Right.
And especially since I'm a writer.
Yeah.
Don't be corrupting my precious language like that. I agree with Glenn that, I think it is up to us to help develop the language, to help maintain what we've got. And yes, language, good point, Glenn. Language changes constantly. I've been doing some studies in the last couple of years of like how it's changed just in the last 500 years.
Mm-hmm.
And even reading Shakespeare, even the pronunciations can change. And linguists have gone back and redone, or they have done Shakespeare as it was pronounced back in his heyday.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And it gives a whole new meaning, because you hear, it's kind of like if you study Spanish, but you hear something in French, since they're both from the same Roman roots, you will recognize certain words because they have basic foundations in common. And it's the same way with like the old Shakespeare, that you hear some words and it's like, oh, that's what he meant, because it sounds like something we're more familiar with now. But yeah, I agree. It's like we all are doing comics and books and trying to, because we appreciate what's gone on before, the people that inspired us, and now I think it's on us to try to maybe carry it forward to the next generation, and hope that they aren't doing stick figures like Matt Bazell and I would do, and calling that the next graphic novel. So,
well, Matt Bazell's a genius with stick figures. So.
Well, he is. I will grant you that, but I recognize even my limited capability, even with the stick figure genre. So,
there's also a problem I'm finding with spelling. And you get the favorite one now I see is when your house, or you are,
or two,
and people are putting it in the wrong, putting your, because it's just laziness.
Yeah,
it's just lazy. And then I get called a grammar Nazi because I point this out.
Yeah.
Now I'm not really bothered what people say to me. I've been called worse than that. But how limited is a mind that sticks Nazi on the end of everything just because you disagree with what they're doing?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? If you disagree, you're a Nazi. Well, that's quite serious.
Look, what's funny
thing,
is that at the time, grammar Nazi used to just be a funny term, and now it's like it completely hits different, and it's like, oh, great.
Yeah.
I just think they're morons. I would call them a moron Nazi. Whatever. I just think they're a moron. If you get pulled up on something like a spelling mistake, why is the other person pointing it out a Nazi?
Right.
Maybe you made a mistake.
Most of the time for me, it's either my fat fingers or Google Voice translates me wrong.
Well, right. Yeah. But the thing is, though, it's like,
Tandy's right.
You kind of get like on both ends. It's like, you have the people who get obsessive about spelling errors, but then on the other hand, we were just talking about, kind of like overcompensating our own language because we feel the language is deteriorating around us.
Yeah.
I make lots of mistakes, but if people point out a spelling mistake, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Right.
I want it to be right. I mean, I don't think people are obsessive about spelling. It should be right.
Well,
there are rules to that. Yeah, exactly.
The differences were really pointed out to me back in the 70s when I started picking up 2000 AD and wondering why they spelled color with a U.
Yeah.
That I can explain that. That's because Americans are lazy. They're taking the U out.
We're not lazy. We're efficient.
Yeah.
Who needs that U anyway?
I'll tell you.
We are going on the metric version of words. Trying to voice on us with like miles and meters and stuff.
I'll tell you where that dismissing the U comes from. It comes from you guys dumping that tea in the harbour. It comes right from them. I know that's political, but that's a fact. That is a fact.
Well, it's like we're looking at.
That'd be a great cartoon, wouldn't it? I should do that. All the guys, 6 guys in a row dumping chests of tea, and the last one's a load of U's falling out of it.
Yeah.
My favorite is that it's like we won't it's like we'll drop the U, but then we'll have words like her, but we won't pronounce the H.
Yeah.
So we have words where we don't pronounce words, and then we have words where we just drop it. And I always remember that Eddie Izzard thing. It's like, and we say it herbs because it has a fucking H in it.
Yeah, look what we've done to the word like Worcestershire.
Yeah.
It's like the beautiful, long, elegant word, and we say Worcestershire if it's like on the side of a sausage thing.
Well,
but if it's in Massachusetts, we call it Worcester. I mean, we've gone completely shortcut on that one.
Listen now is the time to remind the audience that we are TVMA DLSV.
Oh, well, that's true, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Might not be good for kids.
Just listen to Simon and Garfunkel, right? Simon and Garfunkel. Are you going to Scarborough Fair?
Yeah.
Scarborough. It's not Scarborough. Scarborough.
Well, we kind of have our own version of that here. I think out in Long Island, there's a town called. It's always a bone of contention because it's Ronkonkoma, but depending on where you're from, which your accent, it comes out Ronkonkoma. So it's like it's Ronkonkoma.
There's one thing Americans say that I could never get my head around, and that's filet-o-fish. I mean, what's all that about?
Filet-o-fish? Yeah.
Filet-o-fish.
There we go. The T is there, and we don't pronounce it.
When I was there's 3 streets in Detroit that are mispronounced. One is Chalfont. I don't care who's hearing this. It is not Chalfonte. There is no accent mark on that street name. It is Chalfont. Secondly, I will contend that Lasser is not Lasher. I looked at it. It's Lahser. A lot of people say Lasher. It's Lasser. But the last thing is this. There's a street. It's called Faust. Okay? Faust.
Oh, no.
I am tired of people trying to get the problem is there's a school down the street. So when the kids, after they get a little bit of education, they're walking home from school, they look, that says Faust. Like, go home. It's Faust.
This is why English is so hard to learn.
Around here in the Flint area, we have a suburb that's spelled Clio. And we can always tell when somebody's out of the area because they pronounce it Cleo.
That's what I was about to say.
And it's actually Clio.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Illinois, and the southernmost city in the state is Cairo, but it's pronounced like the syrup, Cairo. Instead of Cairo. And there's also a town in southeast Illinois called I got 7 kinds of hell for calling it Vienna. And they're like, it's Vienna. There's no other pronunciation. And I'm like, don't you listen to Ultravox records? I mean, come on.
That's not Vienna. That's old piano.
Oh.
We have a Vienna Road up here. It's
Old
always
Vienna.
been Vienna Road.
Yeah.
But Brian, you said it last week on your show. My book is about a place called Rapa Nui, and you said Rapa Nui.
I live north of Cairo. What do I know? And I'm set up in Chicago.
It's only because everybody around here didn't know it had another name other than Easter Island for decades.
Yeah. It's got several names. It's
Isla
de Pascua, Rapa Nui, Easter Island, whatever you want to call it. It's up for grabs.
That's why I have people like Glenn on my show. I learned so much.
I forget when we were traveling, but I was with Eric, and somebody brought up we were at a restaurant, and someone, I think it was a waitress, she said, "Oh yeah, you guys are just a couple miles out from Utica." And I'm
my god,
Utica.
Oh my god, I didn't.
And then I realized they had a Utica as well. Now we have a Utica.
We have
Michigan.
a Utica too.
Yeah. And I'm like,
the one in New York. Yeah.
but they have a little small city, and they call it Utica.
It would have never have occurred to me.
No, and you'll love this, Glenn. When I lived in Newport, Rhode Island for one summer, one of the main streets was Thames. It says Tim's. And I was like, I watched on French TV. My uncle's saying, you got to learn how to pronounce it the way the locals do, so you don't stick out. So it's Thames. And I'm like, sure it is. You bet.
Russ is trying to incite people this morning. He says, just use Comic Blast. It's so easy to design.
Gee, is that the time? I gotta go.
John Celestri says, good morning, all. It's a slow day for me recuperating from yesterday's clearing my ice-covered driveway.
Yeah,
John,
no, that's the worst. That is
John, you got to be careful and take care of yourself, buddy. Yeah. I sent you a link this morning, but if you're recuperating, please recuperate.
Yeah, really.
So,
I also want to tell you guys that
here we go.
I got a hashtag.
He's helping. Yeah, you're a hashtag. I hate that crap.
Choose a side, Pops. Good side to choose. Yeah.
No time to build rhythm with one another in communication. What, Cameron?
He's about for the
if you don't have rhythm, you won't attract the worm.
There you go.
There we go.
That's Randy. The Shadow Pulps, written by Walter P. Gibson, are the best. Yeah,
agreed.
Well, I was reading a lot of Howard.
Oh yeah, what a wordsmith!
Just amazing stuff.
It's amazing all the authors that came out of the pulps who are now, like common words, like Isaac Asimov, Earl Stanley Gardner, who created Perry Mason, was originally a pulp writer, and like Mort Weisinger and Jack Schiff from DC Comics and Julie Schwartz all had jobs in the pulps too.
Right, but that has a lot to do with the fact that it's not that they did anything different except just change format, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just that that's how little people thought of pulp novels in general.
Yes. Yep.
So it's like when they move to a more legitimate format, now it's like, oh, you see how brilliant they are? It's like they were brilliant over there too. You just were too busy crapping on the format.
Well, like with comics, people are now paying attention because now they're multi-billion-dollar movie industry and a genre unto themselves. Yet, like like when some of us here were growing up, it's like, how much crap did we take? Oh, you're still reading funny books, huh?
Right? Yeah, like you're borderline illiterate or something. It's like,
and that's where I learned to read. That's why my vocabulary was so much better than my friends in school, because I was reading Stan Lee, and he was inspiring me to read Shakespeare, and then Roy Thomas, who had a wonderful vocabulary, and he went back to like the mythology books. It just just the way that all crossed over with each other, and that's how my vocabulary got to where it is, and now I can only use the word F. Anyway,
I learned to speak German through my comics.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Because we used to have a lot of comics. They used to have a lot of Second World War stories in, and the Germans would always say, as I read it, Donnerwetter. Donnerwetter, and Gott in Himmel. So this was the extent, and still is the extent of my German. Verdammt Englishman. This kind of stuff.
Yeah. No. What's funny is that that's how I'm teaching myself French. It's like I pick up the French comics and I just keep staring at it until I start recognizing the words. Yeah. I mean, so why not? It's like, sure.
I've tried to teach my son an appreciation for comics. Got a picture. I posted a picture of him learning, but people started yelling at me on Twitter. I'll share the picture here. I don't understand.
Look, you could.
I don't understand people.
Oh, there you go. Wholesome stories.
Oh,
really? Yeah, the guy used to draw greeting cards. What could be harmful about that stuff?
I mean, that's the keep on trucking guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Gotta be watching because everybody's got his stickers in the back of their back windshields of their cars. So
I think he said that was like his most plagiarized cartoon.
Yeah.
It's funny that book actually doesn't have anything in it. That particular book doesn't have. It's just got there's nothing, because I bought it because I was hoping for some of that stuff, and I got it. I'm like, oh man, something in here like that.
And I looked at folks and said, "What? You're afraid he's going to learn about blues musicians or what?"
but again, it's like that's the thing.
It's like we can't have that.
that's also the thing too, where it's like he's pigeonholed for one thing when he has a vast body of work. I mean, he did a graphic novel on the Old Testament or something. No, Genesis.
Yeah, he did.
You know,
Brilliant.
so it's like, you know, but everyone just remembers the nasty stuff, and it's very unfair.
Well, again, that kind of goes through modern education. I caught a kid getting out of the Savannah Art School that felt, oh, that's Chrome. Oh my goodness.
Right.
It's like, are you serious? Dude,
It's
you need to get an education in here. He went through Savannah School of Design and was told, you know, this whole underground movement was evil and subversive and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, no.
Yeah.
That's not
the
the
way
way
that
we're
works.
reading them.
That's not the way that works. Yeah.
Right, exactly. You know, it's you know, it's like they treat Robert Crumb like he's Larry Flint, and it's like, you know, it's like that's not.
It's funny. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It's funny. I've noticed in my life that comic artists and things like that get much maligned, you know, producing these stupid comics and books. Yeah, it's like with the painters, the famous painters. People would criticize them, but they all want that original on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants a piece of Jack Kirby artwork now.
Yeah.
You know, because of its value and everything. I mean, which is the wrong reason, I think. But do you understand what I mean? They're criticizing our, you know, what we do. Yet they all, like people say to me, when I give my family a copy of anything I published, the first thing, they don't say thank you. The first thing they say is, have you signed it? You know.
Yeah. Just sign it to eBay with love, okay?
Yeah, really.
They never. I don't think they've ever read one. I don't think they read it because it's just what I do. You know. Thank you. Refreshments. Wow. Thank you, darling.
You're welcome.
And it's just because it's what I do. It just seems to be even worth less because it's me. You know, it's what he does.
Hey,
but they all want a signed copy.
Yeah.
That's the way my mother-in-law is. She's got a copy of almost everything I've ever published. I don't think she's cracked the spine on a single one of them. So when she goes to eBay, she can get them like graded for a 10.0 or whatever because they're virtually fresh from the printing plant.
I can never work out.
I love you, Mom. I love you, Mom.
I can never work out why people put those things in a slab. Is it called? I can't. That just does my head in. You've seen. I've shown you my comics. They've fallen apart.
Yeah,
and they will continue to fall apart.
And they're beautiful.
Yeah,
they're beautiful.
But they put these things in, and you think, wow, what a great collector's item for 50 years from now. Well, none of us are going to be here in 50 years' time. So what's the point? Read it.
Yeah.
Smell it. You know, it's just wonderful things.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I mean,
there's long boxes that people would freak to see them out of a bag and board.
I mean, because there's certain books I understand you would put in a slab because maybe they're just that fragile or whatnot, and you know they can't handle being handled anymore. But when modern comics are getting slabbed, that's the thing I don't. It's like, what's the point? You know, it's like
the only slab in that situation should be the slab going on somebody's head and saying, just wake up and just read this damn thing. Because I don't think any of my family have read anything I've ever done. You know, but they want a signed copy. They're not interested. I don't tell them what I'm doing. They're not interested. I just walk in and give them a copy, and they say, "Oh, have you signed it?"
Oh, Glenn's doing his thing again.
Yeah, just Oh, I ignore him. It's just what he does. You know, he just writes books. Yeah. You know, but they don't write anything.
My father-in-law is constantly telling me, "Remember, when you get rich, the kids come first, and then you get to set me up."
There was a great story about that from Billy Joel said when Billy Joel was doing the clubs before he was sort of Billy Joel, you know, when he was famous.
When he was the piano man. When he was just a piano man. Yeah.
His uncle apparently, and this is Billy Joel said this, so I'm presuming it's true. His uncle used to be on at him and say to him, you know, call him a bum and when are you going to get a real job?
Yeah.
Right. So he writes Piano Man and things like that, becomes famous, becomes very rich, and his uncle rang him up and said, "Hey, you've got money, lend me $50,000." And he said, "Tell you what, when I get a proper job, we'll talk about it."
No, good for him. Good for him. Yeah.
Good.
People like that love to do that. It's like the bullies that come out of the woodwork and go, "We good, right?"
Yeah, it's like they had
no, we're not good.
Yeah, they had my high school reunion a couple of years ago, and I wasn't exactly the model student, and some sort of attitude problem I apparently had back then in high school.
Who
It
knew?
doesn't seem to have ironed itself out in my early years. But anyway, everyone's like, "Well, where's Brian?" Well, my best friend was there, and he's like, "Well, Brian's at a comic book show this weekend." And they're like, "Well, he buying stuff there? He's still collecting comics?" And he goes, "No, he's selling them." And then started to tell what I had done in the intervening years, and then half of them were going like, "Wait a minute, we thought he was dead."
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
Just keep thinking
That's
it. I
dark.
don't. This is why I haven't attended any of my reunions since I graduated from high school. So
Last reunion.
Luckily, all my reunions happened at comic book conventions, so it all works out.
yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there you are again.
There was a reunion. This is where are we now? It's 1990. Is that 30 years ago?
Yeah.
20 years ago, is it?
Don't
30
remind
years?
us. Don't remind us.
Long time ago. Anyway, I went to a
Just a while ago. Just a while
right now.
I went to a
Hell
school
off my
reunion.
lawn.
I went to a school reunion, right? And we were all sort of 35, mid-30s. And I hadn't seen some of these people for 20 years since I left school, right? I hadn't seen them. Mm-hmm. Now, okay, and when I was at school, I was invisible. I was reading Spider-Man, and nobody bothered me. I didn't bother them. I had quite a good school time. I enjoyed it. I was drawing and all this kind of thing. I wasn't a bully or anything like that. I was just invisible. Mm-hmm. And I went to the school reunion, and I learned that we were going to go to this curry house for a curry after the thing, and I learned that I was going to get jumped by some of these people. And I thought, I've not seen you for 20 years. Have you not matured?
Right. Yeah.
But then my thought process went further, and I thought, well, it's not as if we had a problem then. Like if I'd have done something back then, maybe they had a problem, but I hadn't done anything. I didn't say anything to anybody. I just got on with reading the Fantastic Four. But I learned they were going to, a few of them were going to jump me. So I didn't go. I went home, and I thought I've never forgotten that. And I always find that kind of thing disturbing.
Yeah.
Even unless somebody's killed your mother or something, you grow, don't you? Grow up, don't you? Hopefully,
you're supposed to.
Well, because these are people who peaked in high school and whatnot, and they don't know how to handle it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's only me.
Yeah.
I've not done anything to them. It's only me.
You didn't have to. It's because it's you were doing your own thing, and sometimes, and the fact that you were able to just do your own thing for all this time when they were it's oh, why does that loser get to be happy?
They were working their real jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I think it's also like what Varian talks about a lot with crab fishing. Yeah. That people don't want to see you change, and they especially don't want to see you grow.
Yeah.
And they seem to think that happiness is a zero-sum sort of thing, that you get one erg of joy from your existence, you are somehow stealing it from theirs.
Right. Or even worse, not even stealing it for them, but it's but reminding them that they could do it too, but they choose not to.
Exactly. Because I always say to people that they say, some people, I know this for a fact, and this might sound a bit big-headed on my part, but I've done a few things. I've been to a few places, but they come at me with, how dare I? But I point out that I didn't steal their opportunity.
Yeah, exactly.
I took mine.
Yep.
I made it all happen. I wanted to go to Easter Island since I was 11. And when I got to 50, I thought I was single, and I thought, right, I've got a bit of money. I'm going to go to Easter Island, which was a big thing for me. The remotest inhabited place on Earth, right bang in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I got there. Now that doesn't mean that the UFO can't get there.
Right. Yeah.
It's still there. It's only an aircraft. You're getting an aircraft, and it'll take you there.
Yeah.
But they were coming at some people come at me
as
if I've taken their opportunity. I've taken nobody's opportunity.
Right, exactly.
I've made the most of mine, and I've missed a lot of opportunities, I know, and I will continue to miss a lot of opportunities. But I tell you what, I will take some more opportunities to do things.
Yeah.
Because that's what I do.
Yep.
I'm not interested in what you're all doing. Well, I am, but I'm interested in what I'm doing, so I want to get on with it. But that doesn't mean that I want you to fail.
Yeah,
because I don't.
That's right, exactly.
I don't want anybody to fail. I want
Yep.
everybody to succeed and be the best they can. But I think that's another thing as well with these people is that they are doing the best they can and they can't do anything.
Yeah, you know, a lot of times what happens
jealousy.
That they'll it not just that, but they will take whatever it is. Like they think you stole from them. Yeah. But a lot of times, like you took my opportunity. I didn't, like you said, I didn't take your opportunity. I seized mine. Yeah. There was a shot there, and I decided to do it. Some people, though, I've seen take your opportunity, or not take your idea, and they will run to the public first with a half-baked concept, put it out there, watch it fall apart, and then like I had this happen with a book. And then you come out with yours that you've taken the time, you've taken, you've done the research, you got the art nice and tight, everything's great, and you put yours out, and it's more well received. And they're like, "You stole my idea." No, I didn't. We had that conversation 7 months ago. You said that is a good idea. You ran off and did it.
Yep.
And you presented a half-baked concept, which, by the way, you kind of effed over mine because your idea, you shitted on the idea that you stole from me. But anyway,
but we're not bitter or anything.
No. I'm not bitter because I've done it.
But it does happen. I mean, it happens, and people will think and they'll get mad about that. You steal your success and steal for somehow stolen their joy.
Yeah,
and it's impossible. I don't understand how that's possible. You got a lot of comments though. Randy, I see that.
I was just going to say,
don't mess with the bull, young man. You'll get the horns.
Yeah. Also, Randy, I got to step out.
We have numbers before you leave.
I will. Yeah, I got your numbers right now. Actually, you have 62,190 listening.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Awesome.
But I got to step out. But Pops Van Zandt messaged me and asked if he could pop in for a short while.
And in here?
Yeah.
Pops, and I'll send you a link.
Yeah. I gotta step out. I may step back in, but I gotta step out. I gotta go spank the children. They're being
and buy Lola her
not a euphemism.
shoes.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking literally, not a euphemism.
No. Yeah. He's reading the tropes that he's not supposed to read now. It's got it.
Oh, okay.
He's picking up Shakespeare, and we got to stop that before something bad happens.
Yeah. Next thing you know, he'll be
set him down with some trash man or something now.
Yeah, I'll give him
nothing wrong with Trash Man.
I love Trash Man.
I'll give him that National Lampoon's comic. I'll give him that.
That'll be a quick education. He'll have a few questions.
If I don't get back here, you guys have a lovely Sunday. Happy Valentine's Day. Same to our viewers, but I should be back. So, okay.
See you later.
See you.
Bye.
I'm going to climb back up on the chat here that Joe says, I wouldn't have been the success in comics if it wasn't for the grammar police like Glenn. My officer Krusky, his name is Elaine Hagen.
Oh, boy.
Mine's Cookie.
Willow says, can you folks tell me how you get cockburn from Coburn?
No. I don't care for TV. I've got an answer for that.
Somebody's missing a little C. Yeah. Somebody's missing a little C. I don't know. The hate was for the "you are okay" LOL context. LOL.
Yeah.
Oh, I got your context.
Would never have
writing that sort of crap to me on an email.
Yeah, see, half of the times I can't get the acronyms anyway, but I know what LOTR is. I would never have read Lord of the Rings if I hadn't have read The Mighty Thor.
Yeah. No, and what's funny is that speaking of language, the thing that came up yesterday is that we were so it's speaking of only death can save us. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about like what was it that attracted us to the book. And the thing that got me that really like I need this book was to show how powerful language is, and when it's done correctly. Mm-hmm. There was a conversation between Death and Chrissy that was just so natural and funny, and all it was just a conversation. It's
Mhm.
he wasn't, fighting demons, even though those pages were hot. He wasn't fighting demons, he wasn't flying through space, he wasn't, doing anything dramatic. It was just a conversation between two people. And the language between them was so natural and so compelling to me. That was the scene that got me to pick up the book. It's like when Death goes, tell me the story, no chips, no milk. it was just like, I need that book. So it's like, so it's like being conscious of your grammar and how you speak and how people speak is important to convey the emotional effect that you want in your books. It's like, it's like anything else. It's like, it's a learned thing that you have to, there are rules to follow when it comes to language.
And to counter that with Only Death Can Save Us, my wife really enjoyed the book, but she had to leave it out in our breezy foyer for about 6 hours.
Oh,
While it defumed, because as soon as she opened that bag, she had the same reaction I did.
The smell is real, yeah.
She goes, I can't.
Although JD thinks it was the prince, though, but I don't know. All I know is I opened up that box. I was like, oh, that's what everyone's talking about.
No, Russ, we love your book. And your printer is incredibly awesome, but some of the ink. Anyway.
Yeah.
Have you gotten a copy of Only Death Can Save Us, Brian?
No, I haven't. Okay. I've heard so many good things about it. This thing.
Probably, if you did, you'd know exactly what we were talking about.
It sounds so like it's going to be a great reading experience once I let it air out in the garage.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Holy cats.
Well, it's the same smell, and it brought me back to my youth because I used to run a chain of adult bookstores. But it was the same. It's the same print smell that we get with the very finest upscale photo books.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about those. And I remember hearing about those.
And it's a very unique smell. But with Russ, he must have taken it right from the printer, right into the bag, right into the mail.
Yeah, those glossy phonetically sealed. About this thick,
Yeah, those.
I used to work in the retail end of the adult entertainment industry too. So
as soon as you open the bag.
Yeah. Oh my God, I remember those.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah, we sealed ours in like shrink wrap as soon as we got them from the distributor, not just because we wanted to keep the fingerprints and God knows what else out of there. It's a treat for all the senses.
Hate for that. Where are we at? This is why I try to buy one to read and one to preserve if I can afford it. Yeah. John says, as Jesus said, a prophet is never recognized in his own village.
True.
Very true, John. Comic book black belt Glenn, people who read comics grow, everyone else exists.
That's what it feels like sometimes.
It
really
does.
Yeah.
It does. Again, Russ says, oh my God, he got out of the bucket and thought his own thoughts. Heresy.
Yeah, I think going back to my old hometown, it'd look like the end of a Universal horror film with all the pitchforks and torches. So.
Cameron Payne says, my dad worked at the crab factory in Baltimore. He referred to his own surroundings was similar to crabs in a bucket.
It's like, because what happened is that as long as you stay on the same level as they do, they don't have to think about why they're at the level they're at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Glenn, some people are so petty. If they aren't the first to do it, then they think they shouldn't do it. I want the opportunity to be first as opposed to just doing it.
The irony of it is that there's so many ideas that are kind of like universal. So it's like, it's the monkeys and the coconut theory where it's like you have different islands of monkeys, but for some reason they'll all simultaneously learn how to use a coconut a certain way. So it's kind of just weird, like people get uptight about that. It's like, oh, well, I came up with that idea first. It's like, yeah, okay, but what did you do with it? That's why you can, and also it's like, just because you have three different people doing the three different, doing the same idea, doesn't mean you're getting three of the same thing.
No.
That's very true.
It's kind of, so to see people argue about, oh, I came up with that first. And it's like, okay, you want a trophy? I mean, I don't understand what you're arguing.
Well, it's like
that,
star-crossed lovers.
I came to that very conclusion just recently.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the star-crossed lovers trope. 500 years ago it was Romeo and Juliet.
Right.
50 years ago it was West Side Story.
Right. Yeah.
I tell people ideas don't matter. I'll give you an idea.
Yeah.
But it's the execution.
Yeah.
I think
Because
very
we all
true.
come with our different skill set and our life experience. That I guarantee if somebody were to give all four of us a basic idea for a story and said, okay, you all have to produce a 25-page comic script out of it, they'll get four completely different comic books.
Oh yeah.
I think that everything every story published, whether it's comics, books, films, whatever it is, I think they're basically a love story. But people, when I say that to people, they think, well, is Saving Private Ryan a love story? There's no sex in it. Well, yes, it is. It's about the love of life and preserving one man's life above the rest.
I will. That's the hill I die on for Lord of the Rings. That's a love story.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that. And I'm not talking about Aragorn and or Arwen or whatnot. I'm talking about this is like a love for humanity, man's love for man. I mean, friendship. I mean,
it's sacrifice. It's everything.
I mean, it's a love story.
Yeah, the analogy there, Daphne, that you said about the monkeys reminds me of that Bob Newhart thing. The Bob Newhart thing with the monkeys. Have you heard that?
I would have to. I'm sure I've seen it. I would have to see it again to recognize.
These scientists think that given time, that the given time, and the fact that the monkeys can use a typewriter. What they do is they put 10 monkeys in a room for 20,000 years.
Yeah.
Right. And they say that they'll eventually be able to write the works of Shakespeare. Yeah. Right. Because they'll learn. So 20,000 years later, they open the door and these monkeys are there. And they've written all these things on the typewriter. And they pick it up and they read it and they say, to be or not to be. That is the smart.
But it's funny. It's like, as much as I've heard, variations of that story. I mean, on one hand, yes, okay, it's meant to be humorous. But on the other hand, I think it also is used a lot mostly to belittle what we do. That it's like, put enough monkeys in a room and they could do what you do, i.e. comic blast. So, so it's like so it's like, it's like I every time I hear that's, hear variations of that, I kind of cringe because it's like, well, are you telling me that to be, well, I know in your case, you're not, but it's like, are you really, is the subtext of is that you're telling me that given enough whatever you could be doing what I'm doing, but you're just not because you're not a monkey, it's like,
I've said this before. I don't believe that. I think that talent is talent. And because I always use the analogy of, I don't know whether you've heard of a footballer called George Best from the 60s and 70s. He was best footballer in the world for, soccer player for 10 years, right? Yeah. Now, as I understand it, George Best was one for the ladies. So he didn't go into training. He used to be with some woman somewhere. But when he turned up on the pitch on Saturday afternoon, he was the best player in the world. Right, so think of that. Now, people tell me that anybody can do what I do. They just haven't done it as long as I have. Well, I've been doing this since I was 6.
Yeah.
Now, so what I'm saying is that George Best never practiced because he was busy practicing with some woman somewhere, right? Yeah. But when he was on the pitch on Saturday, all the people who'd been practicing weren't anywhere near as good as he was.
Right.
And it's called talent because we'd all be drawing like Jack Kirby, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Well, but also it's like there are also certain levels of talent because it's like talent in and of itself. I mean, we started so young because we had the talent that pushed us ahead of the other kids in the class.
Yeah.
But there's certain levels of talent where you get your outliers where they don't have to do anything and it's just completely innate.
Is that talent or passion? Because growing up, everybody tells me that I had this drive for comics, and it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just didn't see myself doing anything else.
Yeah, that's how I looked at it too. It's like, so why do you do comics? It's like, because I don't know what else to do with myself.
Yeah.
Well, I was told when I was leaving school, I was told we used to have a careers officer. And I told him I wanted to draw comics, and he said nobody draws comics.
Yes.
And I was thinking, well, all those comics under my bed, who's done those? He said, I've ever thought about being a mechanic. Now, I can draw you a car engine, but I couldn't take it apart and put it back together again. Yeah. And people who can do that are brilliant, but I can't do that.
That was something I was told. We had a skill center here for the technical school that you could go to during your junior and senior year in high school. And I took the commercial art courses. And the teacher there was like, well, what do you want to do? Well, I want to draw comics. Well, maybe you should learn how to do advertising because you're here in the middle of Michigan. And if you want to do comics, you're going to have to move. That's like, it's so funny now with the internet and that you can literally be anywhere and do what you want and make a living at it if you're industrious enough and you have the means and the ability to do it.
Well, that's the one thing I've noticed, getting back to, the people that say that we can't or shouldn't do it are usually the people who aren't doing it.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's like I tell people I'm good with other people's businesses. I can tell them how to run their company and make $1 billion probably one day. But, it's usually the people that couldn't compose a halfway decent laundry or grocery list. Are telling me I can't be doing what I'm doing. And then let's talk about what I've done.
I said this to you last week, Brian. The thing about writing, I think, is that people don't know the difference between an idea and a plot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've got this great idea for a comic story. These two guys fight.
Yeah.
Wow, nobody's done.
I have an idea for a children's book.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's amazing. Like with the anthology that I'm working on, it's like, well, what do you need? Simple short stories. Well, I can give you a preview from my comic. No, I want a beginning, a middle, and an end. I want a short story. I want something that people can read and have satisfaction at the end of it. That they can go on and read more of your character, of course, but they get a story. That's the whole key.
No, and then it's like, I think my favorite is when I have like this 1,000-issue epic and they never make it past issue 2.
Or they never get down to sitting in front of the typewriter.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. Yeah, they never I'm still world building.
Yeah.
You've been world building for 25 years.
Yeah.
Many years ago, my daughter, my stepdaughter, her friend, Lisa told her friend that I drew, as an artist and all that kind of thing. And this, I think Michelle, she was called, her friend, told her dad. So her dad came round one day with Michelle to pick her up, came to our house to pick Michelle up to take her back home. And he said to me, "Oh, you're an artist, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Do you do comics and things like that?" I said, "Yeah, sometimes, yeah." And he said, "Will you do me a drawing?" So I said, "Yeah."
And that was it.
That was it.
I sure will.
I said, "What of? What do you want me to draw?" And he said, "I don't know. You're the artist."
Oh my goodness.
Well, I can think of a lot of things, from a tree to a planet. I can. There's a lot of things in between there. But so he didn't get it.
Russ says only Death Can Save Us has a 2-issue offer, one to read and one to keep.
No, why buy one when you can buy 2 at twice the price?
God gave you 2 eyes for a reason.
Bob says, "Fair. Life is not fair."
No.
That's right.
It's near mint.
My mom wanted a copy of Mojo Rising, but cannot. But not because I wrote it, because I'm in it.
Oh, because now you're famous because you're in a comic.
Hello, Randy. Hope you're doing well.
Hello.
Hi, Randy.
Marvi says, "Can't wait to have my copy of Russ's book." Haven't gotten yours yet?
Well, he's in Portugal, so
okay.
If he's getting no, because if
it's not there yet, Marvi. Teresa Dunn says, "Good morning, all. Happy Valentine's Day." Happy Valentine's Day to you too.
And again, shipping in Europe is weird. So
well, shipping within
America, he'll never get it.
Yeah. I keep saying I can mail a letter to Detroit and have it go through Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
How do you improve upon the staple?
Yeah.
Since they are all posted, mate. Russ says, hopefully it gets there soon. Keep me informed. Marvi, I'm sure you're going to post it as soon as you get it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. Russ, I did give a full endorsement of the book
we did
last night on my show. Yeah.
Yes. We did talk about it for a bit. Yeah.
Sam and Frodo. This is how far back the chat is.
Yeah.
Sam and Frodo is a love story. Lord of the Rings is about or it's about what is best in all of us.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
the fight for right.
I mean, that movie still gets me. You know?
Yeah.
Atomic Blast, now tested by monkeys. Already
Yes,
tested.
exactly. Yeah.
Lord of the Rings doesn't get me because I told you I watched it once and I thought, well, that's I don't need to do that.
I mean,
again.
you know, that's
just my opinion. That's just my
okay
opinion.
too.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just my
How many
opinion.
times do you need to climb Mount Everest, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're too busy. You're too busy doing other things. It's
Yeah,
okay.
that's
Right,
good.
yeah. I just don't like that kind of thing. I don't like spells and goblins and things like that. I like your stuff though, Daphne. Your
Right,
stuff
yeah,
is
no, thank
brilliant.
you.
I like your artwork. Your artwork is superb. But Tale of Two
I'm
Cities,
kind of a little into that stuff.
Cameron says, "What about the Tale of Two Cities? Haven't seen that story in a while."
yeah,
There
good
you
story
go.
though.
Classics
Comic
for
book
a
black
reason.
Black Belt says, "My illustration teacher told me not to bother."
Me too. Yeah.
Man, I really
Probably the
am.
same one.
Yeah, I hear you.
Steve, yeah.
Yeah. Steve's doing the comic book adaptation of Tale of Two Cities right now, even as we
Has anyone
speak.
seen Steve?
Yeah.
Hey, Steve.
We're painting the house inside. Smells are something I understand.
Yeah.
Gotcha, Pops. Yep.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And if you like shows that are running behind in the comments, may I recommend one to you 3 times a week?
There we go.
We are the king of being behind in comments. You know, that's our
Sometimes you
format
spend
now.
the whole show going through your comments. It's
I
awesome.
know, and then I love it when people who don't get it yet, you know, that yes, we're behind the comments. Like every 5 minutes, I will come to a thing. You haven't read my comment yet. You haven't read my comment yet.
I think that we're
That's right,
talking
we
about
won't.
we were talking about reading. I think it's because a lot of people don't have an imagination. Because
and a lot of people don't read.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, it's like what's funny is like reading Twitter is not reading.
No.
It's
No.
like reading Facebook is not reading. Reading like a magazine article, it's not reading. It's like sitting down and concentrating on a book, on actual words on paper. It's like a lot of people don't do that.
Well, when I was working at this place when I was going to Easter Island, and people were saying, "Where's that?" So I told them what it was all about, and they said, "Why are you going all that way for a holiday?" And I said, "It's not a holiday; it's an adventure. You don't fly up to the other side of the planet for a holiday. I don't think.
No.
What's the point? It's like these people. I know people who I've been to India and all around India, and it's terrible." It's horrible. It's a great place, but it's horrible, right? Because it's just all this.
I've seen videos.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
well,
but I would say to everybody, go and see it and feel it.
experience.
Some people I know who were criticizing me for going to Easter Island used to go to Goa, which is like on the west coast of India, down south.
Okay.
And it's a holiday resort. Well, it's a 9-hour flight, and I said, well, you could go to Spain in 3 hours from England. And what's the difference? It's the same sun you're lying under.
Uh-huh.
So what's the difference? Why fly 9 hours? Because you've lost a day, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Why fly all that way just to lie in the sun? Now, if they did what I did and trek around India for 6 weeks, that's a different thing.
Wow, yeah.
But do you understand what I mean? Why bother going? Why bother going all that way to India?
Hey, Pops.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Pops, how are you
I don't
doing?
know. Yeah,
We're now joined by Pops Van Zant. Pop, introduce yourself to the radio audience.
Pops Van Zant, comic-related madness. I don't think I have to say any more than that.
Okay.
Happy Valentine's
Okay, see you, Pops. Bye. Oh,
He's a character in his own comic, so he's famous.
There you are.
love you, Pops.
I'm just snowed in up in here, man.
I could
That's all.
imagine. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Pops, you don't have it.
Right.
I'm sure you don't have it as bad as Daphne has it.
Probably not,
It's-
but
no,
it is the most that I've seen in the 7-8 years that I've lived here.
Oh,
It's
you've only
most
lived here for 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's the
okay.
most in a 2 days period.
How many inches do you think you have down there? Inches
We-
of snow, that
we
is.
got like a-
I was going to say, Randy, that's getting personal.
That's a personal question.
we got
You
like
might
a
not want to answer.
Oh, we're friendly here.
Brian, I totally agree with you on the email thing.
Yeah.
I hate it in text speak. I cannot stand it. Talk to me like I'm a human.
Yeah. It's like if you have one of these, you've got the time and the wherewithal to write a proper word. Thank you, Pop.
Marv gives you 3 emojis and says, "Pop's my man."
Marv.
We love Mario. What's up, brother? Give
we love you anyway,
give my boy Father Horn some love when you see him.
Blackout says afternoon, Blackout. Hope you're having a good day. Afternoon, I guess. We're still in the morning here.
Yeah, and thank you, Willow Schuyler. I see your remark. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, there was
let's pop that up, Brian. That's
no,
Christian that bugs you about reading his comments. I ignore him purposefully on my show because I enjoy pissing him off.
Oh, there you go.
It's almost like an Olympic sport. Pissing
Teddy
off Christian
is my
Basil.
favorite color.
Comic book black belt pops into house.
Only Russ can save us.
Yes.
Yes. Only Russ. Only Russ can save us.
It is a phenomenal book.
Yeah.
Hey, I gotta know, Glenn. Have you seen Steve?
Not for a couple of weeks, no.
Just check it. You gotta check in on this guy every now and then. You know.
I wonder where he is. I wonder what he's doing. I wonder if he's still listening to telling his friends about the Great Wall of China.
Boy.
Yeah, Pops, Glenn explained that to me on a Clever Title Pending last week that about Steve, and now I crave his wisdom.
It is the inside joke that came out of CronCon Europe, but it's gonna live on in infamy forever.
Do you have anything to say about it? Yeah.
And to think all this time I've been trying to get famous and I've made Steve famous overnight. for something he said 30 years ago.
You're such a humanitarian, Glenn. I can't get over you, man.
Sharing the love. You know, we want everyone around us to be successful.
Yeah. That's what Steve would want. I know that's what Steve would want. Because him and me. Me and Steve.
The mission goal of the madness. I want you all to be successful. That's the first sentence in the mission goal of the madness. So, there it is.
I'm going on an adventure.
But it just
spirit of eternal child.
Yeah.
It just shows you the way of the world, doesn't it? That you can be famous for something that's not right. As Steve knows.
That's my whole career.
Well, he doesn't
Glenn.
know, does he? He doesn't know, does he? He thinks it's okay.
But,
I think we all know Steve, somebody who's telling you what your business is when you've been doing it for like X number of years.
Oh no, that's the eternal internet problem, isn't it? It's like some rando coming out of nowhere. It's like, I have all this experience. Like, yeah, but I read a BuzzFeed article.
Exactly.
I have a friend on Twitter who's linked to someone else. Yeah.
Yep.
I found that in life, personal experience is the best teacher.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Things that you've actually experienced yourself.
Yep.
And hearsay, we all know, can be corrupted by
nonsense. Yeah.
Ego or whatever. Okay. Somebody trying to make a story sound better than it was. Whatever. Okay. Yeah. Hearsay can inflate a story. If you didn't see it yourself or experience it yourself, it's hearsay. You're not sure if it's true or not. So when
it's okay to say you don't know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, to go back on a previous comment. I mean, I don't know if they were like looking for a serious answer or not, but they were talking about like how do you improve on a fundamental or something like that. And if you want to improve your writing, your creative output or whatnot, like 2 basic things: read more, travel more.
Yep.
There's so much that you'll get from that will show up in your work.
Yeah.
And if you really want to read something like what she's talking about, read something about somebody's travels.
Yeah.
Read my book.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Available on Amazon.
Yeah. Neil Peart, the drummer of Rush, he wrote books about his bicycle treks across different countries, like in Africa. He wrote a book called The Masked Rider. It ain't got nothing to do with Rush and rock and roll. It has to do with his bicycle ride across Cameroon, and I can't remember where else. But I mean, he talks about everything, dysentery, everything that he experienced.
No, that's the reason why I love Henry Rollins. I love listening to his stories.
Yes.
There was one particular one that he did where he went to Antarctica on a scientific expedition, and just hearing him talking about digging a trench and sleeping with the penguins.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's like just listening to, like when he was on the Orient Express and he was traveling through Russia and he went to Iraq and he went to, it's like even just listening to other people's stories, adds to it.
Wait till I tell you about when I was picked up by Saddam's finest in Baghdad.
Oh boy, of course, Glenn.
No, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I'm not saying otherwise.
It's true.
I know better.
The best stories are
goof on you.
Yeah, the best stories are that sound the most improbable. Like, I tell a story frequently about how I almost wound up being a driver for a mafia don.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's like a friend of mine, he ended up, he would travel. I mean, he traveled to Thailand. And I think he was in the middle of a coup twice.
Yeah. And I know two people, including one of whom was my father, who were in Saigon during the Tet Offensive.
Wow! Wow, that's a story.
I was half. Yeah,
I was in Iraq. I was in Baghdad. 12 hours. I got out of there 12 hours before Iran bombed the airport to start that war.
Oh wow! Oh my God!
And me and a friend were picked up. I think they thought we were spies. And we were held. I don't even. You're talking about experiences and how personal experiences are everything. Well, I don't know about you guys whether you've done this, but I've had an AK-47 in my belly for an hour. So
I have had things pointed at me by both good guys and bad guys. So I'm.
Right. Yeah.
Wow, that sounds like when I met Ted Rall at SPX, and he was telling me his story about and he was saying it's like he literally thought he was going to die when he was in Baghdad doing.
Nothing raises your awareness than having a gun pointed at you.
Oh yeah.
Right.
True.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I wanted to write that story about my dad. Because he was 19 when he jumped out of that C-47 on D-Day. And he landed in a flooded field. So not only was he sort of jumping into enemy territory, he nearly drowned in the field. That's before he'd even started. But the most incredible thing about his story, I think, is the fact that when they flew in at 500 feet, and it took him 8 seconds to get to the ground or to the field, and that's why the book's called 8 Seconds. So from jumping out of that plane, 8 seconds later, he'd fallen 500 feet into a flooded field, but he was on the ground in 8 seconds, which I find is just, I can't imagine that.
Amazing.
With all that flak and aircraft, because all the aircraft were all flying into each other and everywhere, So.
Yeah, really.
Oh yeah, again with the dysentery. Yeah.
Yeah, I was reading farther down where he said I had squirt guns pointed at me. That's pretty funny.
You folks are amazing to hang out with. Hope to catch your show again soon. Thank you, Willow. Thank you very much, Jake. Is either passing money or clapping hands? Passing money. Yeah, right, Brian. Almost.
I had another experience when I was in Dallas. When I was writing my JFK book, I went to Dallas, and it's when the House Select Committee on Assassinations were doing their reenactment back in 1978. And I was staying in this hotel called the Lawrence Hotel, and I was on the 7th floor. And there were 2 ways out: the door and the window. And I was 7 floors up, and in the middle of I was on Dallas radio talking about the assassination, about this House Select Committee and everything like that. And I was doing my research, and I was going around to all the places like where Lee Oswald lived and all this kind of thing, and where he got arrested and all that. And one night after the radio show, I woke up about 2 o'clock in the morning, and somebody or one person at least were busy trying to get through my door. And the only way out was through the window.
Wow.
So I just stayed where I was because I couldn't go through the door, and I wasn't going to go through the window. and then they went away. And that's one of the scariest things. Now, it could have been total coincidence, but I've just been on this radio show. I'm talking to people, I'm meeting people, doing all this research, and then somebody tries to get in the door, and I was scared to death.
Black show up at
Yeah,
your hotel room.
Those the lizard people from the Illuminati. They had to silence you.
You never know. You never know.
The next day I left. I got out.
I would too.
Cameron says, I'm not trying to visit the River Ganges.
No, that speaking of dysentery.
Yeah.
Willow says, sadly, I have to pretend to be a functioning member of society and to serve coffee to people.
Oh,
It's this 40 degrees Celsius weather.
Godspeed.
Yeah, stay safe, hon. Stay safe.
Have a great day. You too. Have a great
we're
rest
not
of your-
having a winter compared to Willow, who lives like, way up in Canada. So
Oh, does she? Wow.
yeah.
Well,
so-
her and Jake,
I told
it's
her,
like,
yeah.
he's in
Yeah.
Norway, right?
Oh,
So
Jake used to it by now. He's over in the Netherlands.
he's wearing tank tops and
Yeah.
20 degree
Short.
weather.
Yeah.
Having a great
I'm
time.
just going to the corner.
Just another day. Just another day.
Yeah.
Since I told Glenn, it's the Dr. Stephen Strange of publishing. His cloak is walking around the house, dusting the books in his library. How much life experience.
Well, maybe. Remember, folks, I just took my opportunities. That's all.
Yeah, in the end, that's what it is. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
It
took the
says
opportunity.
Bobcat squirt guns pointed at him, and I don't talk about them plastic shits.
Oh, I'm sure.
What's the worst thing you've ever been squirted with?
I'm not going there.
We don't talk about that.
Well,
We're not here to talk about our
personal, isn't it?
Y'all just admitted some stuff. I wasn't going there either.
I'll tell you, Pops, but you got to pay me $2.99 a minute. You know what I'm
I got maced. I got maced. Like with the big canister, the big gun
Yeah.
where they just spray everybody.
Yeah.
I just stand there minding my own business. Didn't have nothing to do with nothing that was going on. Caught it right in the face.
Wow.
It's like, what did I do? You know?
Yeah.
Wrong place, wrong time. It sounds like.
Yeah.
That's what it
Like,
is.
what did I do? I just looked like the enemy, I guess. I don't know. You know.
Yeah. But yeah,
Kent
life
State.
experience. Life experience.
Yeah. It'll go into a story one day.
Yeah.
Man.
I'll tell you what, there's a few things I've been involved in, and I bet people wouldn't accuse me of stealing their opportunity for that.
Yeah, you see, that's the funny thing. When
Yeah.
something bad happens to you, they never, they're never concerned about, being, you took that opportunity away. No,
Yeah.
not that one. You have that one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, there's imagine the scenario, right? Me and my friend were dragged off the plane by Saddam's finest, put in a room, AK-47s pushed everywhere. This guy screaming at me in Arabic, which I don't know one word, right in my face, spitting in my face, not spitting, but mouth from his mouth, screaming at me, really screaming at me for 10 minutes. And I just,
Wow.
what do you want? And then after about half an hour, another guy came in and did the same. And then he just took I had my passport in my pocket, and he took it out and he said, "I want passport." Now, he'd been screaming at me in Arabic for half an hour. Why didn't he just say that in the first place? And I would have given it him. But what he did was he took my friend's passport as well, and then he left the room. So we were stuck in the middle of Baghdad with armed guards with no ID.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always a funny side. And it was only a few weeks previous to that me and my friend had been to see what's that film with John Hurt, where they're in the prison, Midnight Express.
Dear God, yeah.
So my friend Tim's at one end of the room, standing there with a gun in his belly, and I'm stood in the other with a gun in my belly, and there's people screaming at us and coming in and out, and they're really angry. And they take the passports. And me and Tim are just looking at each other, thinking, "Shit, this is the fucking end. This is it. This is it." And but nobody knew where we were. Nobody knew where we were. Nobody knew anything. We could have just disappeared.
Yeah.
So, and then just let me tell you this: when I was in India, we were in this place called Juhu, which is near Bombay or Mumbai or whatever it's called this week. and you get this boat, and they used to get this boat and go down to Goa. Now, I mentioned Goa before, and Goa is now a proper holiday resort, but when I went there, it wasn't. We were going to get this tramp steamer, dead cheap, couple of rupees, pence or couple of dollars, nothing, and go. I think it's about 300 miles down the coast to this Goa place. Anyway, the boat didn't turn up. For some reason, that's what happens in India. Things don't appear. It doesn't happen. So we decided to go north instead, which was a good move because we found out later when we got back to England, a few weeks later, that particular steamer we were going to go on they'd been arrested because people had got on the steamer and disappeared.
Wow.
So that could have been, I may not have been here. That could have been me and Tim floating in the Indian Ocean somewhere, So,
and everybody is now, will have missed that conversation, Glenn, and they'll come up to you and go, well, you went to Easter Island and had a good time. Why didn't you take me? Why didn't you take me all these
you
fun
took my
things
opportunity?
you go
It's like,
through?
you were the one who was supposed to be left for dead in the middle of an Iraqi oil field? Was that supposed to be you?
Let me tie you to a chair, stick a gun in your navel, and start screaming at you in a language you have no hope of understanding. Then tell me how much fun we're going to have. Yeah,
man,
this is like we're going down the quarter
the story. Man.
Hey kids, we're here to talk about comics.
What?
I wanted to ask you guys, did you see this new Snoopy webtoon thing?
No,
but we're not here to talk about porn, Pops.
Oh,
no, Snoopy
on webtoons.
But I went to check it out and you got to pay for it, and I was like,
one of those. Yeah, $2.99 a minute. Yeah, see, folks, that's your sign right there, folks.
Man,
I have a
Snoopy
copy of Air Pirates to sell you.
Yeah, there we go.
Pretty much. Jake says, I've told you repeatedly I don't wear pants in the winter.
I was trying to figure out
from the Iceman himself. T levels would increase that way.
Yeah, I don't know if shoveling anything up down there is going to increase your T levels. But
what it is like you have to do.
Also going to decrease something you can use later.
Yeah, it's cold therapy. It's like you're supposed to you shock your system and then you go back into the heat and you go back. Some athletes swear by it. So
if I'm going to shock my system, I'm going to put too much rum in my hot chocolate. That's what I'm going to do.
Amen.
Toasty.
Better living through chemistry.
I'm like, who's got Charles Schultz's who's making Charles's money right now?
The Charles Schultz estate, yeah.
Right. But I mean, is United Features Syndicate still? I mean, I'm pretty sure they're probably still involved.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Who's in charge of that? All of a sudden, it's like, man, they could have been doing peanut stuff all this time. All of a sudden, here comes something new.
But didn't Charles Schultz say that it can't continue when he's not here?
Yeah, that didn't last very long with the estate.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like.
Who's the guy who did Calvin and Hobbes? Is it Waterman?
Waterston.
Yeah, he say the same thing? Because he only did that for 10 years, didn't he?
Yeah, he's still alive though.
Yeah, but
he's still got full control over that property because it's available for syndication over in Europe, but it's not available here in the States. It's available only in collections. I know. I tried to get it.
Wow.
So, yeah. I tried to get it for my paper, and the syndicate said no, it's not available here in the States. But they run it. They still run it in 10-year loops over in Europe through the papers.
Life experience is best. He tried to get it. He knows.
Yeah, if somebody
try,
that's right, Bob.
How do you know you can't?
Yeah, if Disney rang me up, and said we'll give you $4 million for anything I'd done, I'd say, yeah.
Just $1 million from Disney? Nah, like, for what they're going to do with it, I would ask for like a lot more.
You gotta take me to lunch first.
Yeah. I'm too old for that kind of stuff. I just want the money. I want to go to Easter Island again.
There you go.
Go and see the Great Wall of China from the moon.
To be able to get his own boat and go to Easter Island.
That's right. Yeah.
With Waterston, though, he's got firm control. He always did over that property. He's got there's not a whole lot of sweetheart deals like that are out there, but he's got one of them.
What I'd like to do is go to Easter Island with a helicopter and take people on rides, and because there's no helicopter there, that'd be something to see it from the air.
Well, is that for?
No, I bet.
Yeah.
Is that for a reason? Like there's no helicopters.
Well, could be. I don't know, but I just think it's because it's in the middle of nowhere and nobody's bothered about it. So
you'd probably have to truck it over by boat.
Of course, yeah. We couldn't fly it, could you?
Didn't he buy you a helicopter?
We need a cruise ship. A cruise ship with a helicopter platform up on the back, up on the top there. And you bring the ship there to Easter Island and people get to check everything out. And you can do your helicopter tours while the ship is there.
Talk to Steve about it.
Yeah.
I am an
talk to Steve,
off me right now.
Yeah.
Again. Oh.
Either being here in Comics Hell on the seafloor or in a lion cage, Glenn. Waterston ended in his own terms. You'll get the collection from University Press. Yeah, they've done a beautiful bound volume slipcase of the entire run. That is available. That's amazing stuff. And surprisingly, the stuff is evergreen. I mean, it's like the Twilight Zone. You can read it, 10, 15, 20, 30 years later, and it's just as good as when it was originally out.
What's really funny is that I didn't realize how much of his stuff was so subversive.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I wonder, it's like, wow, could this thing even get published now?
No, it would not. I mean, not with a lot of the current editors. No,
because there was there was just so much, and it's not like he's being like outrageous, but just observations. Yeah. And I'm like going, oh my God, how did I not catch this the first time?
Just the stuff that Calvin did with his snowmen alone. You'd never see that in the papers nowadays. No.
Wow.
Don't forget, Daphne, though, if people were putting that out now, again, most of the population wouldn't get it anyway.
Yeah, that's true too. It's like the context is gone too.
Yeah. So it would a lot of people would miss it anyway. So
yeah.
It's kind of like when I tried to read Bloom County from back in the day, and it's without the context of the time, a lot of the cartoons really fall flat. And I'm trying to sit there, remember. It's like I remember this was new. What was going on then?
Pogo and Little Abner are the same way. They are works of genius, but you have to understand the context that was going on at the time that the strip was done. That's why if you ever get the Pogo collections, I can't remember who did the notes, but somebody goes through and does full notes in the back talking about what each strip meant, what each character meant, and the context that it was all done in. It's a fantastic companion to the actual strip because you appreciate not just the art but the writing in there. Yeah, Bloom County's very much like that. Little Abner also got very editorial, especially towards the end. And again, Little Abner, you would never see in American papers today. Just wouldn't happen.
For so many reasons.
All the Freak Brothers and Feds and Heads and all those.
Those are never meant to go in the papers anyway.
Now, and you have no idea what the war on drugs was going, and the hippie culture back then. You don't know what was going on back then. You're lost reading them books.
But the awesome thing about Freak Brothers, though, is there's not really a lot of as long as you're aware of the drug culture, you're not going to be left out in the cold on the majority of that work.
No, that's what I'm saying. When they had a point, when they had a message, if you didn't live during them times, that message went right by you, and you just kept reading it out.
You see, and that's the funny thing, because I think that those are the parts that, because of lack of context, it's like I miss out on it. It's like and it's like it's kind of like watching Mel Brooks films when I was little, and then watching them now, and I'm like going, oh my God, like now I understand the context.
On the TMC network the other night.
With about 20 minutes of apologies, I'm sure.
I did not want to watch it because I didn't want to see how bad they trashed it.
Yeah.
You'd almost have to catch that with an advertisement that it was unplugged or uncut.
Yeah, you got to get the
this is Blazing Saddles uncut. We're sorry. Yeah.
Well, they just cancelled Faulty Towers over here. Have you seen Faulty Towers?
Oh yeah, very familiar.
Right, yeah.
they've cancelled that now. Or at least they've taken out the German one. You know, the one where the Germans are in it, he's doing the fun walk and all that. They've cut that out because. And have you noticed that when these people are cancelling things, they're always cancelling it on behalf of somebody else?
Yes.
Yeah,
There's somebody else. There's somebody else. Never.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a program called Hello Hello?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Yeah. That's classic.
Same people.
Yeah.
Jeremy Lloyd. Yes.
Well, do you know where that sells the most? That program.
Germany.
Yeah, in Germany. It's taking the piss out of the Germans and everything.
Brilliant.
And they think it's great. So why should somebody else have a problem for them?
Yeah, no, that's I've been seeing that a lot too, and it's like, oh boy.
That's my biggest problem with the whole cancel culture thing. It's always for somebody else.
Yeah.
If I have an issue with you, I leave you behind.
Right.
I don't tell people not to buy your stuff.
Yeah.
I don't do any of that. I just don't talk about you anymore.
Well, because what it is a part of it, they get off on that savior complex. And they have to drag you into their morality crusade that I did not consent to. So it's like, hey, you're big on consent.
Over here, back in the 60s.
I did not consent.
back in the 60s over here, there was a woman called Mary Whitehouse, and she was head of the anti-porn brigade, and she was this self-appointed woman, and she used to spend her time, not all of it, I hope, but watching these films that she found disgusting, that she wouldn't let me watch, or at least make my mind up.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? So she's watching the stuff and hating every moment of it, and I'm not allowed to because she's hating it.
Right. Yeah.
I want to make up my own mind.
You know, it's kind of like, Tipper. Everyone forgets about Tipper Gore. And it's like Could you just leave us alone?
I saw a news spot about that where they had a couple of rock and rollers on that were talking about Tipper Gore, and they were thanking her. They were deeply indebted to her because every album that had that advisory sticker on it sold the hell out of it.
Right? Yeah, I guess.
She brought it to the nation forefront.
Yes. Well, that's what the
you
BBC
guys
did.
know what happens to rebels when you tell us we can't.
Yes,
that's what happened to the BBC. Did that with Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Relax. That song, Relax.
Yeah.
Which is basically about gay sex. Well, the BBC banned it. It went immediately to #1 for 6 weeks. Because it was banned. And I guess that's the way to go. Really, get yourself banned, and everybody will want to know what you're doing.
No, what's funny is that was
this
the.
book is about Nazis. This has Nazis in it. Make sure everyone knows and ban this book. All right, available on Amazon. In fact, ban multiple copies of it. I can use
career suicide.
I mean, it's like
laughing all the way to the bank pops.
No, that's Rockstar Games. That was literally their marketing strategy for Grand Theft Auto was to get it in the hands of people they knew that they were going to freak out about it, get this whole ban the game campaign, and they made $1 billion off of it because that was literally their strategy. How do we use this kind of this nascent outrage culture to work in our favor?
Well, what was that game? I don't play games on the computer thing. There was one of a little sort of froggy guy who was being chased by somebody. I can't remember what it was called.
I don't remember. Yeah.
But this little guy, he was flying and this big monster's after him, and I don't know what it was called or what it was about, but I do know that it was banned because the little guy, they'd drawn his penis hanging down because he's got nothing on. He's a frog. He's got nothing on. So what happened was, because they banned it, they had to pixelate that bit out. So everybody wants to see it, and it's one of the most watched videos ever because it was banned and pixelated.
It's like that Batman issue.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, okay, so it's like
that Pops just got up to go get it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, they actually allowed the artist to put his so you could see his wang through his clothes.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Did you guys catch that Captain America reprint that had the penis on it?
No.
Did you hear about that?
I've never opened this book, by the way.
No, don't open it. Never read it.
That was kind of like.
It's bigger than a regular comic, though. You guys understand that?
Yeah, it's magazine size.
Yeah,
it's huge. I mean, it's huge.
But like with the bat wings, size doesn't matter, Pops.
There you go.
Obviously, it did.
Yeah,
Well,
but
it
to
was-
some people.
Back in the 80s,
And that's when Varian comes back in.
Yeah,
when we're
exactly.
talking
Of
about that.
course, yeah. It's like, what have I left my network to?
Jake says Watterson ended in his own terms. You'll get the collection University Press. We were there already. It's not about the money. It's about the principle. Bill Joker Watterson.
Yeah.
Yep. Glenn B. Fleming, one of Thatcher's children. Show me
Not really.
the money.
Not really.
Yeah.
I'm a bit older than that.
Jake says red pilled. No, I'm Watterson pilled. You'll never see Quino Kino in the papers again, ever. Not sure what Kino is.
Might be a strip on his end, probably.
Yeah, he says LOLO slaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, over here I'm still watching Laughing, and when the wife sits there and watches it with me, about every other joke that she turns to me and goes, "They'd never do that today. That'd never run today."
Oh,
Yeah.
God, no.
I mean, I know. That's why we. That's why we just.
Oh, Hee-Haw never make it on the air.
No, but it's awesome.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It really
As
is.
a kid, I hated it. Now you sit back and you watch it and go, "Wow, that's pretty awesome."
But have you never noticed that everything that's really good or that you really like is banned, like sex, beer, drugs, all
It's
the
easy
best
moral
things.
crusade because then it's like they don't have to worry about real issues.
Yeah.
They'll just distract everybody with that, and it's like, but the sexy,
Yeah. Well, like comics in the early 50s, when they were all turning all of us into juvenile delinquents, each and every one of us.
As if children were raised feral with no parents.
It was just me, but
apparently the BBC apologized for Blackadder yesterday. Totally out of touch.
Yeah.
You see, that's the thing. They don't have to apologize. They just have to put it in context that there's a context to it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what they're doing to like some of the Warner Brothers cartoons, where it's like they kind of explain the context. And it's like, look, we're running these uncut. This is the context of the time. This is just what they are.
I don't think they should even do that. I think people should just grow up, and if they don't like it, turn it off.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a TV station around here called Me TV, and they're currently getting absolutely huge ratings now because they're playing cartoons uncut.
Yeah.
I
gotta check that out. Yeah.
Between 7 and 8 in the morning, they run a whole hour of a really bad, puppet type cartoon or a puppet cartoon host type situation, and you just zap through the puppet parts and get to the actual cartoons. But they're showing these cartoons uncut, and then Saturday morning they run whole blocks, one Popeye, one Tom and Jerry, one Looney Tunes of all this stuff uncut, and I'm sure that they're making big ratings out of it. They're even running Flintstones in prime time. So
because that's
really good on them.
Oh, yeah.
It's like erasing is not correcting any. I mean,
it still happened.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, erasing to correct is what we do on paper to our own artwork. It's not what you do to history. It doesn't correct.
So Renee was the man. One of my favorite series.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like Jody McPhee and I, when I was on from the desk of a small press publisher a couple weeks ago, we talked about that. Mm-hmm. And context is vital, especially in these things that we have evolved past.
Yeah.
Like we talked about the Spirit, Ebony White in there, a great character, but portrayed now what we know now is an embarrassing way.
Yes.
But I think it's good to have these conversations about it, so that we don't backslide.
Why have a conversation when I could just call you an exploiter and a predator and call it a day?
Yeah, exactly. That's the easy way out. And
I think you're still seeing stereotyping going on now. If you watch the commercials with the stupid husband.
Right.
Stereotype, or the right wing guys that are currently being branded the N-word and white supremacists and all this.
Right. I mean, it's like we were talking
for having opinion that's counter to them.
Well, it's like it kind of like what I was mentioning on the show last night with Joe, where it's like, my big pet peeve is like the strong female character that's so feminist she turns misogynist. because it's like they strip away everything that makes her a character and turn her into a caricature, and that's supposed to be it.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, really?
Caricature is so much easier to write, though.
Isn't there a famous saying about those who ignore history are doomed to repeat it?
Yep.
Poorly.
Well,
they're doomed to repeat it poorly.
Yeah, but if you cancel everything, if you take Winston Churchill and people like that, you know, who was the greatest Englishman who ever lived, I don't care what anybody says, if you take that out of the history books and people don't learn about what he allegedly did, or the slave traders, or all that kind of thing. I'm not saying that's a good thing what they did, but they did it.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, look at the Spanish. Look at the Spanish and the conquistadors.
You don't have to tell me about our history.
Yeah, of course. But you see, nobody's bitching about that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that if you take it out of the school curriculum, all that history, well then there's nothing to remind people.
You know, I mean, because it's like, you know, because I was looking up some of my family history, and on my grandmother's side, we actually directly go back to the Visigoths, and I was reading up on the Visigoths, and I'm like, wait, oh my god!
Well, you should be cancelled. They cause so much trouble. Those people. You should be cancelled, Daphne. We should cancel
look,
you.
I'm not even 2 generations away from actual legit fascists, so I'm, you know, whatever.
Yeah, and why I haven't been canceled before now. Somebody's just not trying.
It's one of the reasons why I don't send my DNA into Ancestry.com. There's something I just really don't want to know.
Yeah.
You should be doing that anyway, just for privacy reasons.
My family come from
Kansas. We don't need to.
My family came from France and Belgium and Holland, so you know. There you go.
Marvy says, I've been working on my comics since early this morning. I'm going to rest for a bit. Marvy, take care. Don't forget to watch Ragin' with Meredith and Anita at 3 p.m. Take care, everyone. Have a great week. You too.
Yeah, I'm on their show next Friday. So.
By Jake. Russ says, make a song about straight sex, and the Beeb will probably apologize for it. Yeah.
Nobody writes about that anymore. Sorry.
No.
Not like anymore.
BBC have to take the bell ends out of the mouth before gurgling a coherent apology. Oh. Bad cook. Anyway,
made a picture with words there.
Dear sex and drugs is my only fun when there's consequences.
Wow.
He said is only fun, not is a kid.
Oh, it's only fun when there's gotcha. No, it's his only fun. Yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to canceling people, it's like I figure that there's people that like try to cancel me, and it's like I don't do anything.
You don't have to. You just have to be a target. You just have to be a target.
I don't have a book. I don't work for anybody. I don't have no.
Well, that's why.
Do you provide someone's dopamine hit? You know, do you? It's like,
you should.
Then
you
that's
should be
what it is.
Well,
you should be
I won't be supplying that anymore. You see what I'm saying? It's
you
like,
should be cancelled, Pops, because you don't do anything.
There we go.
Yeah.
Hail, Edwin.
Yeah, Pops.
all I do is come out here and talk, man. That's all I do.
You know what's funny? It's like the thing I hate about this overuse of the word canceling, though, is the fact that it's that's not what the word means, you know, in terms of the slang usage. That it's like when I saw the word cancel for the first time, it was meant that you are not getting that person's support anymore. You're not getting financial support. You're not getting emotional support. You're not getting any type of support. You are canceled. You are done. No syndication for you. You know, it's like that's what that meant. That the person who was canceled was going to get completely ignored. But for some reason, it got twisted in this whole thing where it's like, no, you have to be destroyed. Yeah. Which is a completely different issue.
That's the culture part of it. When people like go out of their way to tell people, don't buy Glenn's stuff.
Right.
Glenn's this and Glenn's that.
Right.
You should never support Glenn. And it's like, if you do that, I will never support you.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, okay, so it's like, so I don't support. Okay. So say I don't support Glenn. Now what? Do I get more rights? by doing that? I mean,
Yeah, what
it's
did you
like,
win?
yeah, it's like what do I get? What do I get from that? You know, it's kind of
Yeah.
like the whole Gina Carraro thing, where it's like, you know what? I'm not impressed by the faux morality of an industry that still worships Woody Allen and Roman Polanski. So you know what? So it's like, you know what? I really don't care.
Yeah.
You know?
Cameron just can't stand
You
men in
know.
skinny jeans.
Oh,
them,
well,
them,
you know.
them dudes in them stretchy pants freak me out.
Well, skinny jeans. If anything should be canceled, it should be skinny jeans.
And then the live on Indiegogo.
Wait a minute. I'll defend
It's a
Freddie
Tommy
Mercury. He was wearing women's jeans
Channel,
at
Rolf.
his live performance, the classic one. So
Depends whether you've got the figure, doesn't it?
well, that's if me in skinny jeans. Okay, cancel me all day long. That is just not
Well,
right.
maybe 40 years ago, but not now, certainly.
No,
Author-
God, not even then.
Author Michaela Jade says, "Hey there, just popping in to say hi." Hi, Michaela.
Hey, Michaela.
In the 80s, tight leather pants was the whole rock and roll theme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
No.
yeah, that was yeah.
I mean, come on, that's just the way it was.
Russ
And
says
then-
you'll be surprised what we talk about in my on my show because it's informal conversation about everything.
Great show. Great
Yeah.
show.
I like
Jeff,
watching
Sign up for
that
his YouTube
joke.
channel.
That's kind of been this last 2
Yeah,
hours as
pretty
we
much,
talk
yeah.
about
I
our
don't-
love of comics.
And it's like, well, it's like, you know what? You know what? The topic is all the experiences that
Right.
add to our
Yeah,
love
I've
of
seen this.
comics
That's
and
right.
how we create comics.
Exactly.
You know, that's the topic for today.
Exactly.
You can't
comic book.
cancel Fez's brain.
Exactly. Comic book. You got that
Oh.
right.
Oh, you can't cancel Fez's Brian. That's what that says.
That's right.
Yeah. LMAO, and you were surprised.
Hey, I watched Joe's show last night. Joe's been worried about his appearance on CromCon and how he's gonna do it. I'm like, dude, come on. You're doing fine. It's like you know, I watched your show last night.
You're dandy,
You'll
dude.
be fine. Just
Yeah.
keep doing it. Just keep doing it. It was a good show. It was entertaining. I liked it.
Pops, tell people how they can find you.
I am the admin and founder of Comic Related Madness. We got Monday Madness with Comic Talk with Pops Van Zant on Monday nights. Comic Talk with Pops Van Zant, the YouTube channel. And CromCon, the last weekend in February, 27th, 28th. We're going to be rocking it. You never know who's going to be there, right?
I'll be there.
See what I'm saying? You never know. It's going to be a good time. That's where you find me, Comic Related Madness.
Jake says from the desk of a small press publisher, surprising what a fucked
Circadian.
circadian rhythm does. Okay. Pops, real quick, why do you love comics?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, a lifetime of entertainment. Ask me more appropriately, why do I love you people?
Oh,
Provided me
it's
with a
Valentine's
lifetime
Day.
of entertainment.
Valentine's Day. Glenn, tell people how they can find you.
Facebook, Twitter, but the best way to get to me is via Comics Unlimited Magazine at gmail.com. That's probably the best. Just drop me an email and I'll get back to you, as they say.
And Glenn would really appreciate you swinging by Amazon.com and looking at all
I
the
really
stuff.
would, yeah. Yeah, all my stuff's on Amazon.
That's
So-
Glenn with 2 N's and Fleming's with 1 M.
That's the one, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Even though I spelt it wrong this morning. So, hey, never mind.
Don't forget to be in the middle.
Yes,
in the middle.
B,
Right.
B as in butterfly. Yes,
Yeah.
in the middle. Glenn B. Flemming on Amazon. Check him out. Comics Unlimited. It's an amazing magazine. Brian K. Morris. How can they find you?
RisingTide.pub is my website where you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter. I'm also on Amazon as well as Smashwords and also on YouTube, where we run a whole bunch of shows on all manner of entertaining stuff. Please, if you haven't enjoyed my appearance here this morning, don't subscribe to my YouTube channel. It infuriates me.
Not go into those negatives.
It annoys me so much. So go on there and smash that like button and subscribe if you really want to torque me off. And thank you for having me, guys. It's always a pleasure to be on this show.
Always.
Thanks
a
again
pleasure
for
too.
being on. But that's kind of like the person going, if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book.
Yeah.
I'm following to Franco, who says,
I
you know,
hit those
if you don't
negatives.
subscribe, I'm gonna, subscribe, or I'll punch you in the throat. And every time he does that, he gets like 40 or 50,000 subscribes. So
It's like National Lampoon, buy this magazine or we kill this dog.
exactly,
Yeah, exactly.
It's
yeah.
like people on Facebook say, you know, if you like, you know, Donald Trump or anything like that, please feel free to unfriend me.
Oh,
And
I hate that.
think,
I hate that.
who
Like, don't
are
tell me
you?
what to do.
I take him up on that.
Yeah, right.
It doesn't matter who they're for. It's like, if you don't agree with me, unfriend me. I'll block you, man. Here's a bonus.
I'm not doing this with no friends, okay? Join the group if you want to network and promote. You don't got to be my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
If
right.
you want to network and promote in an atmosphere with none of the BS, you join the madness. That's all. You don't have to like me.
Over Christmas, I really got slammed on my Jack Kirby page on Facebook because somebody posted, you know, that Captain America cover where he's punching Hitler.
Yeah.
Somebody
number
put
one.
somebody put Donald Trump's head there.
Yeah.
And he was punching Donald Trump. So I deleted it. Well, I got so much shit, you won't believe it. I was a Nazi, you know, usual track. And I'm trying to explain to these people that my Jack Kirby Facebook page, there's a clue in the title, Jack Kirby, King of Comics.
Right.
There's a clue there. And I know it's very subtle, and I know not many people are very bright, but there's a clue there, right? And I know they can't read, and so it's my fault. But I got so much shit off that.
Yeah.
You won't believe it. It got to the point, right? It got to the point where Facebook were telling me that they had removed posts.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were saying. I didn't click the button. It says, if you want to see what it says, click this button.
Right.
I didn't, because I'm not bothered.
Yeah,
but I got so much
exactly,
crap off that. Just for taking that artwork. I'm not saying I disagree with it or anything like that. I'm just saying
it was irrelevant to the forum.
It was politically, yeah. And
then again, I saw somebody post a meme about Gorilla Glue that Facebook put a panel in front of warning you that it was fake news.
Oh yeah, you can't even. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, oh, God, sometimes you just can't save everything.
I posted that picture of the virus as a toy on a card, vacuum sealed onto a card with the words "Made in China" on it.
Oh, I saw that one. Yeah.
Facebook threw up a warning label saying I was reposting fake news.
You know, like we're not supposed to take drugs and drink too much beer and all this kind of thing, alcohol. Yeah. I think people need to have some drugs and take a few beers to lighten up a little.
Like get a little, get a little toke going.
Calm down.
Go out. Yeah, really.
I'm not advocating anything.
I think Bill Hicks said it best: "Is you never hear about a positive drug story on the news." It's just because, quite frankly, all of my experiences on drugs has been pretty positive.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I use such things, you know.
Yeah.
Well, not all of them, but most of them.
Cancel is a burned out tune, a term. Unsubscribe today.
You know what? Yeah, I would. Yes, you're unsubscribed.
John Celestri says, "I'm looking forward to the cries of indignation to my Bloodwing Angels multi-sexual being."
Look, I'm bracing myself for whatever nonsense.
Yes,
I might get. So
I've seen some of that stuff, and it's going to be really good. Some people are going to be really upset by it. I think it's great.
We can only hope.
Yeah, we can only hope. Yep. Jake's got to bounce. 100 days of making comics to do. Go, Jake, go. And Cameron's just laughing at us all.
Yeah, well, hey.
Daphne, how can they find you?
You can find me at egoworks.com, EGOWORKS, where you can find all my social media and all my alternate art galleries, including the infamous House of Bob. Speaking of controversial, you can also on my website you can check out Ego Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn. You can read the first 5 issues for free, but if you prefer your fantasy to be more running, jumping, skipping, climbing Mount Doom type, you can head on to talltalesonline.com and read all 20 issues of Tall Tales for free there. Yeah. And don't forget to sign up for my newsletter too, because I have a couple of Kickstarters coming up this year.
And folks, I've been your host, Randy Zimmerman. You can find me on Facebook under Randy Zimmerman. You can find me on Twitter under Randy Zimm. I'm not up there very often. I don't post very often, but you can always try to find me there. I check it maybe twice a week anymore. But other than that, I do have a channel on YouTube and a comic company that I am getting off the ground, restarting, actually. Arrow Comics 4.0.
Back.
that we're working on products for as we speak. You're going to see that hopefully in the last part of this year. We'll be kicking a bunch of stuff out. We'll have a campaign up very shortly for an anthology book that I'm really proud of. I just got the 4th cover yesterday, and oh man, it looks awesome. And you're going to have to wait for the campaign in order to see it. It is colorful, it's bright, and it's absolutely cherry. So be on the lookout for that. That book's going to be called The Indie Volt Revolt, because next month we'll be celebrating our 2nd anniversary of the Indie Volt podcast and doing all of the different podcasts that you see here on the Indie Volt Radio Network. And Indie Volt Revolt's going to be part of that. We're going to be promoting that. That'll be the first book out from Arrow Comics 4.0. And it's over probably 120 pages at this point of phenomenal short stories done by a lot of the people that you hear or see here on Indie Volt. Daphne's got a story. Glenn's got a story. We haven't talked to Brian about getting a story in, but he's volunteered, said he's available. But stay on the lookout for that. What? You're in the madness.
I'll do a story about Pops. How's that?
There you go. That's more where I fit in anyway.
Quite honestly, we have 2 stories, 3 stories hanging out there that I'm waiting to get in. And it's going to run, I'm telling you, this book's going to be over 120 pages. It's going to be a flip book. Every book will have 2 covers. You turn it over, you go in 60 pages. You turn it over, there's another cover. You go in 60 pages. It's going to be fun. Nice. A lot of fun. And then that's just the start for Arrow 4.0. We'll be doing a lot more stuff and a lot more announcements as we go along. If you want to, over on YouTube, there's an Arrow Comics 4.0 channel that you can subscribe to. I will have new material up there. I plan on doing something next week. I'm in the middle of a very large commercial job right now, and thank goodness, I think I just figured out my vinyl cutter so that I can get this stuff done.
Okay, Randy, give us the spelling for Arrow.
ARROW.
Okay, regular. Bang.
Yeah, nothing fancy.
Not
No
aerospace.
Y's, no Z's, no.
Okay. No arrow. It's not aerospace or Aerosmith.
Nope.
No.
It's just like the Arrow. Yep.
Right.
Our target is entertainment. Our aim is quality.
Oh, nice.
That's the tagline. Always has been since the 80s. We had to restart Arrow Comics because of Ralph Griffith passed. I mentioned to him that I was going to restart Arrow, and he said, do it, and run with it. And with crowdfunding and everything else going on, just don't stop. That's what he said. There's
a whole bunch of Arrow, like Green Arrow. Give us specific address.
Well, yeah, there you go. So
Arrow Comics. You can also go to arrowcomics.com. If you want. That site's being built, it's or being rebuilt. It's still in a kind of a scrappy stage right now, but we're going to have a marketplace up there. We'll be offering all of our Arrow product that we can get our hands on from all of the different incarnations of Arrow. But most of all, you can catch us here on the Indie Volt Radio Network. Tuesday or Monday nights, we run a show called It Came From Webtoons that Eric Hodson and Varian Grant co-host. On Tuesday nights is our regular Indie Volt Livewire podcast, which is at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Wednesday nights, the Indie Princess and Varian and whoever else that they can grab in do Geekgasm, which is usually comics and genre from a female perspective. Then on Thursday mornings at 9 a.m., Varian and I do the Breakfast Buzz, where we talk about comics in the industry. Then once again on Sunday mornings, we'll have the Sunday FUNnies, where normally we try to talk about the more lighter and uplifting, whimsical side of comics, which we never seem to get around to. Sometimes, if you didn't watch our program from last week, we had the Underground Guru on, Dan Fogel, who does the Underground guidebook. It was the first interview that he's done. We have a lot of awesome other interviews that we are working on lining up that cover that fun and whimsical side of comics and underground comics that a lot of people might not even know exist. Yeah, and there's so many people out there outside of the marketplace who are so unaware about alternative and independent comics, and we're running into more and more of those folks every day as they look around and see that sequential art is a very valid form of entertainment, and you don't have to be a Marvel fan. You don't have to be a DC fan or a superhero fan or whatever in order to enjoy a good, fun comic. As you see with our backdrop, we've got all sorts of different comics here, everything from romance to Fat Man, the Human Flying Saucer.
Satire, everything there. Got it all.
Little demons like Hot Stuff, underground comics, just all sorts of fun things out there. You just have to look. And if you're ever wanting great entertainment, you need to go to your local retailer and spend an hour or so going through their back stock and take a look at all of the different comics that are out there, and some of which are incredibly underpriced. So
check out Spank the Monkey.
A lot of fun available. Yeah, Spank the Monkey. All right, everybody, we're going to run. We're going to go out the same way we came in.
Thanks for having me out,
Dave's
Randy.
left.
And thank you so much, everybody, for being part of the program. Deeply appreciate you all. We'll do this all again soon. And before we go, I do have to do one bit of necessary advertising. So here we go. That's our award show that Variant's putting together, indievoltawards.com. For more information on that, we're taking Variant is taking registrations all the time. There is a small registration fee that does get turned back around to Autism Speaks. So in order to submit your book, please go over there and take a good look. I've been asked to be a judge for it. This is going to be an award show that's judged on merit, not popularity. That's not a popularity contest, but a mutual decision among, I believe there's 5 judges total, about quality and in an attempt to raise the art form and make it more recognizable to the outside public. We're at Dave & Buster's, folks. This is going to be sweet. If you haven't seen Dave & Buster's, they're a national chain of arcade restaurants that they've been working very hard with Varian on getting this award show off the ground. And we've got a lot of national sponsors, national prizes for the awards. It's going to be a lot of fun and hopefully a very uplifting, very professional and sophisticated evening. So
I was actually asked to be a presenter that night.
Cool. I'm probably going to end up presenting too.
You should try and get Ricky Gervais to do it.
That might be later because they really want to take us national and then international after this year, seeing how it goes. So yeah, it's getting out of hand. Well, it's not getting out of hand, but it's this whole market. I keep saying, if you watch the podcast, this is our year. This is the year for the independent and alternative comic to really go out there and spread their wings and show this populace how great sequential art is. Because quite honestly, the other companies, the larger corporations out there are really not doing us any service.
Yeah, they really aren't.
They really aren't. And they need to get out. We need to get out there and push this for the art form that it is and have folks look at it genuinely as the art form that it is. So
the talent is there.
The challenge is there. It's just a matter of opening people's eyes.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
That's what we're at. Yep. And then this is why we do podcasts like this. We gain more people every day. So we're at 60,000. Varian said earlier.
Wow,
Varian,
yeah,
are you still in the back room? Do you have any figures or any numbers? No, that's okay. All right, he's hiding.
Make it up, right? We can make it up. We have one.
Oh no, we don't want to make it up.
Oh, we don't. Oh, sorry.
No, we want actual real numbers.
We have 4 billion people listening to us right now.
All over the world. And we
There are
appreciate you all.
spaceships circling this planet that are getting their culture from this program at this very moment.
Steve says you can watch this podcast from the moon.
You're right.
There you go. Thank you, Steve.
I think I'm going to have to do a comic book about Steve.
Indoors.
And any last words?
Yeah, I'm going to do a comic book about Steve.
Oh, Glenn,
On the
if you
moon.
do a comic book about Steve, I got to be the news anchor reporting on it.
So appreciate the madness. Appreciate Rising Tide Publications. Check out Glenn Fleming's books on Amazon. Look for Tall Tales and EgoWorks at egoworks.com. And be on the lookout for Arrow Comics. More stuff coming real soon. A lot of great things. So gonna have. We'll see you soon. Oh, just as a guest star pops in. Come here, you. Say hello to everybody. Say hi.
All right.
All over the world.
Hello.
That's the granddaughter. Take care, everybody. See you soon.
See you later.
Bye.
Oh, you ended it. What's going on here?
You draw the Flintstones naked?